It's a special episode of View the Right Thing for a special occasion in Hollywood. Wes, Steve, and Alexis start pleading their cases and placing their bets as to who deserves to and who will win at this year's Academy Awards ceremony. Best of all, you won't have to endure bland red carpet interviews, annoying commercial breaks every 2 minutes, and no need to dress up in tuxedos, fancy dresses, or pay any attention to doing anything with your hair and makeup. We can't even be sure that our hosts are even wearing pants. It's time for the annual Oscar episode of View the Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of View the Right Thing.
Yes, welcome.
Our annual Oscars podcast.
Oscars.
We're going to predict some Oscars. And we've got Steve, as
I'm
always.
Steve.
And we have Alexis.
Hello.
She came back.
Yay.
We lured her back with candy.
Oh, wait, there's candy?
Not for you. We used it all to lure her back. We had to put it outside her door and then a little down the street and a little further down.
Followed it all the way here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Acceptable.
So we're going to talk Oscars. It's always our longest podcast, so we're probably won't do a ton of preamble, but just to catch up real quick, anybody up to anything exciting lately?
Oh, boy. Yes.
Yeah?
Well, tonight after this recording, I'll be on Shameless on Showtime.
Woo!
Oh
So by the time you hear this, go to your Showtime On Demand and watch Shameless Season 9, Episode 11. Kind of scary.
For people who've only heard you and not seen you,
Yeah.
what do they need to look out for?
Watch for the scene in the Shrimp Shack.
Shrimp Shack?
Yeah. Shrimp Shack.
Oh, that sounds good. I want some Shrimp Shack right now.
I do too.
All
I do
right.
3.
Okay, now I don't watch Shameless. It's one I've been wanting to get into, but it's so many seasons in now, so I just haven't gotten around to it.
9 seasons in.
Is the Shrimp Shack often on the show, or
I know it's been on previous episodes before the episode that I am in.
it's not like their Central Perk or anything though?
No.
Okay.
Not quite.
Okay.
Not that many episodes. Faux show.
Okay. Alexis, what have you been up to?
Oh my goodness. I have been sewing up a storm. So aside from being an actor, I'm also a seamstress. And I was altering a bunch of the awards season outfits for
Whoa.
I altered Linda Perry's outfits.
Linda Perry of Four Non-Blondes.
You got it. The
Songwriter
one
for
and only.
Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes, she was nominated with Dolly Parton for Dumplin' for Best Original Song.
Oh, Dumplin'.
I know.
Dumplin's cute.
And now my award season is done, so I can breathe. And get back to more acting. And,
there's still a week before Oscar night. You might get called up to help with alterations.
Last minute alterations again.
That is a highly possible situation.
Make them pay.
Yes.
Make them pay triple.
Oh, they pay.
Oh, okay, good.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Have you been given any crazy outfit to have to alter that some other famous designer's outfit, and then they're like, oh, we need you to take this in. We need you to take this. What's the famous outfit?
Versace.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume it's a Donatella Versace, but does she design or does she just keep her brother's legacy alive?
I no comment.
Okay.
Fair
Okay.
enough. How about
She doesn't want to get political.
How about Alexander McQueen?
Oh, they have been other off brands.
Oh, okay.
That are
Probably
very
if you have
high-end,
a Tom Ford or whatever,
Selena Gomez.
you probably Tom Ford. That he does outfits, right? They probably do it themselves, huh? For something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I like Tom Ford. As a director, I like Tom Ford.
Cool. Wait, does he
He has a
direct
great eye.
and design?
We've
did?
done a Tom
Oh my
Ford
God, you did a
movie
Single
on this
Man.
podcast.
Oh yeah, a
yes.
single man.
That
You know,
movie
I have the
killed me.
memory of a garden
He
snail.
did Nocturnal Animals also.
Oh. I watched that.
Anyway.
All right.
Who's that? Amy Adams
That's Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal.
and Jake Gyllenhaal.
We laughed because we
City
were talking about him
Slickers,
earlier.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
City Slickers.
Yeah, he's one of Billy Crystal's kids.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the first thing he did was like October Sky or something.
No.
No.
He was a little kid.
Didn't know. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him for being a little kid.
Way to go, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I wonder if he got to pet that cow.
I hope
Pet
so.
that cow?
Yeah, remember he gets a Billy Crystal in the first movie gets a baby cow,
Oh, right.
and in the second movie the cow lives with them in their house. And he like goes on a jog with the cow.
I'd be
He
very
had a
surprised.
goat.
No, Norman the cow.
Oh, right.
Norman the cow.
All right, because as a kid, he said, hello.
Yeah.
And that's a cow. Okay.
Sounds like I need to revisit City Slickers 1 and 2.
Yeah, I like City Slickers a lot.
Yeah, those were big movies. Big, funny movies.
All right, so we're going to talk Oscars. We're going to jump into it. We're going to cover every category. We're going to say what we think will win and what we want to win, because sometimes what we think is the Academy's going to go with is not what we're passionate about.
Right. Very true.
I have an order I have decided, and we'll take turns in who's going to go first and mid and last.
All right.
So we're going to start with the short film live action category.
Short film live action.
Looking at Steve's fingers to see where his fingers go on his thing so I can find it on mine. Alexis has already
Live
got
action
it.
short film.
All right, and Steve is going to go first.
Oh, boy. Well, I haven't seen any of these, unfortunately.
Sweet.
So I picked that Favre is going to win. And I want Favre to win because I think the people need a documentary about Brett Favre.
I don't think that's what it is.
Well, it's what I marked down.
If
So
there's no R in it.
I've said all I can say about Favre.
Okay. All right. That's it? That's all you want to say?
That's all. I haven't seen any of those shorts.
Yeah, I haven't. I saw pieces of some of them. I picked Marguerite
Ooh.
to win, as well as my pick. I saw clips from different ones, so that was the one I would kind of like was the most intrigued with. And it's about a nurse. I'm not sure if she's a live-in nurse, but a nurse that's taking care of an elderly woman.
Oh.
Who, as the older woman learns about her caretaker, they start to bond. But they come from like very different lives, and it sort of causes the older woman to reflect on her own life. And it kind of is sparked by the fact that she, while being given a bath, the nurse steps out of the room to take a phone call with her significant other, and it's like, oh, I'll see you later, I love you, blah, blah. And then the older woman's like, oh, is that your boyfriend? And she's like, it's my girlfriend. And it's like, just color kind of drains from her. It's like, there's this real disconnect.
Yeah.
And so throughout the course of the short film, they bond, and she reflects on her own love. So I think it's timely. And so I picked that one. Before I talk about the other ones, do you want to say your picks? And because I'm curious what you picked.
Well, that was a hard one for me as well because I didn't see any of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a question mark. But after you talked about Marguerite,
That's not allowed.
Oh.
Where's your question mark at?
it was at Marguerite.
Oh,
All right, you can put your. All right, if the question mark is at Marguerite, you
Yeah,
can put it there.
it really was.
Oh man,
I was
what
like,
a cheater!
That sounds really good.
What a cheater!
I don't make the rules, and I barely
You want to
know
hear
the rules.
You know, I'll tell you what. You want to hear? Do you want to hear about a couple of the other ones, or at least one other one?
Mother was also intriguing to me.
Mother is
It's about that Danzig song.
it's a thriller. I think the whole thing takes place in one room.
Ooh.
The mother's kid, I can't remember if it's a boy or a girl, goes away with the dad for a weekend, I think to the beach, and she gets this phone call that the kid is in trouble, and it's her sort of like a harrowing thing about her trying to figure out how she can protect and save her kid. And they're going to make a feature film based on this. Like it I guess the short film, obviously it did well. And I believe the whole thing is all in the one room.
Interesting. I'm still going to stick with Marguerite.
So then we have, there's a really controversial one called Detainment. And I watched 3 clips from this, and one of the kids that's in this is utterly brilliant.
Whoa. It's the kid from the Babadook.
No, I've never seen these kids. They're British, so it's a story about these 2 boys that lured away a toddler, and killed him.
Ugh.
And
Oh, no.
they used the transcripts and the recordings from the police station for the script and for the actors to reference. And so, and the two boys are sort of blaming each other.
Right.
And it looks very, very good. The one of the kids is like so believable, and it's very raw.
Wow.
But I think the family of, I don't know if it's the family of one of them or the family of the murdered kid, did not want this movie to come out.
Sure.
And they sort of lambasted in the papers the Academy for allowing it to be nominated for an Academy Award.
Wow. So it's based on that true story?
Yeah,
No name changes or anything?
No, I don't believe so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very controversial.
Whoa.
Understandably so.
It could be interesting if it wins, but I don't know. So do you want to change your question mark? You're sticking with Marguerite.
I want to stick with Marguerite.
All right.
Detainment just gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm never having children.
You can look up, I think on YouTube they have like the 3 clips put together.
Whoa.
And you can find the bathtub clip from Marguerite there as well.
Whoa. All right.
So we had Skin was the other one, but I don't know anything about it. All right, we're moving on. Short film animated. I'll start. All right, short film animated. So we have Animal Behavior, we have Bow, Late Afternoon, One Small Step, and Weekends. I'm picking Bow for both my pick and the Academy's pick. I think it's hard to beat Pixar.
Right.
I also think it was a very touching story.
Beautiful
that was
story.
told really well. However, I will say that I almost put my want for Weekends. I loved Weekends an awful lot. But I think Bow for me just has the edge. Visually, it's more beautiful as well to me. So, okay, so now it's Alexis's turn to tell us what short film animated.
I also said Bow.
Okay, for both?
For both.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately didn't actually see it.
Oh.
But I know. But heard so many people talk about it. And I heard the description of what it was, and I have a lot of people that are, is it Filipino? What was the...
I think it's... I think it was directed by a Chinese.
I want to say
woman?
Chinese because I think traditionally Bao is a Chinese thing
dish.
anyways, but I'm not 100% sure. Asian.
I have a lot of Asian friends, and they talked to me about how much it meant to them.
Yeah.
And because there's a vastly underrepresented
Oh yeah.
in the film world as a whole, and I really loved how it touched so many people.
Yeah. It spoke to that culture.
Yeah. And I'm all about inclusivity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is why I chose Bao.
Oh, that's good.
I saw bits of it. I didn't see the full thing, but I thought it was very lovely. And
Those are good reasons.
yeah.
Steve.
I'm here to shake it up a little bit, you guys.
Awesome.
I also chose Bow.
For both?
For both, yeah.
Yeah.
I really loved it when I saw it. I believe it was attached to Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful story. I probably shed a tear while watching it. It was quite a few months ago. I don't remember for sure. But it's a safe bet. And I want it to win, yeah. I want it to win, and I think it will win. Because, again, hard to beat Pixar.
Yeah, I agree.
Wicked had to beat Pixar.
Did I re-see any of the others? Did you guys see Weekends or anything?
No.
Weekends I really liked. It was not a story I related to.
No.
It was about this boy whose parents are no longer together, and his dad comes and picks him up on the weekends.
I was actually going to jokingly guess that that's what it was about. That is, okay.
And the lives that that he lives with his mother and the life that he lives with his father are very, very different.
Yeah.
And the father's sort of indulging in bachelor dude things, he's buying lots of collectibles.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
they're watching scary movies together, and they order food because they can't cook. And and then he comes home to his mom, and his mom is at first sad, and then there's a new guy, and then the new guy is they imply is abusive.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of show it, but and just sort of there's this very subtle thing about the mom, I think, kind of learning to love being with just the boy and not needing to have someone else. whereas the father ends up kind of moving on and getting remarried and stuff, and moving out of the comfort of what the boy knows.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a very personal, beautiful story, and there's a lot that's like unsaid. There's a moment where he looks out. His father lives in a city, and he looks out and he sees a building across the way, and there's a light, and there's what I believe is another child, but you can only see a little silhouette, waves at him.
Oh.
And they never explore that. It's just one of these like unsaid things. And it's not an incredibly cathartic, it doesn't have a cathartic ending. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't end up picking it. But I thought it was beautiful, so.
Weekend.
And I believe you can watch that online.
Cool. I'll watch it this weekend.
Ha ha!
Hey.
Easiest joke ever written, folks.
All right. Next up, sound editing.
Ooh.
I know we're all looking for
Sound
it now.
editing. I've got it on the far right side of
Yes.
the page.
Okay,
in the
so,
middle.
so this is where people get confused a lot between sound editing and sound mixing.
Yes.
So sound editing is all of the gathering all of the pieces of sound in a film. So all of the dialogue, all of the sound effects, all of the music. It's not the mixing exactly of that. It's sort of like I read an analogy where it's like sound editing is the composer, and the mixing is more like the orchestra together. So sound editing, the gathering of all of these sounds. And this one is going to be started by Alexis.
Oh, that's funny. I am amused that I picked this, but I said A Quiet Place,
Oh yeah, that's a great pick.
which I really wanted to see. I know.
Alexis.
It was almost available on Netflix, and then when I went to go watch it, it wasn't available anymore.
Whoa.
Oh, I have it.
I don't remember it ever coming to Netflix.
So we should have pooled our resources on this, because
We should
you had
have.
stuff that I didn't have, and I had stuff that you
Yes.
didn't have.
But I watched excerpts of it to like get an idea of what it was
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
and I was very impressed with how it was put together.
Yeah.
And I loved John Krasinski
Yeah.
and Emily Blunt. So like they helped a little bit, but I think that what I was able to watch from it was really impressive.
So is that your pick for both?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It is. I know.
I found myself picking both a lot more this year than I ever have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I might have too. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off. Is there anything you want to say about it?
No.
Okay, so Steve, you're up next.
I think Bohemian Rhapsody will get it. I think it's the most popular among the category
Interesting.
in terms of sound for sure, because people love the music of Queen, but also a big part of the movie is indeed sound editing, where there are lots of footage of them in the studio working on creating the sound of their own rock and roll songs. So I do think it will win, and I mostly want it to win, but I put A Quiet Place for my want to win, because as flawed as A Quiet Place can be, sound is very important in the movie.
Yeah.
I love Krasinski, I love Emily Blunt, and I think that movie should get some kind of an Oscar. So basically, I want both movies to win. I think Bohemian Rhapsody will win,
Okay.
because sound editing is a major part of the story.
So this is our first one. We're all in different places on this.
All right.
Interesting.
I picked First Man both for want and will win. The sound in that film is so specific and like detailed and like precision.
Yeah?
And I think like when you look at, do you guys see the movie?
No.
No, of course not. So there's
Sad.
obviously they go to the moon. So when they like the lead up to them going out of the capsule onto the moon is like the best example of sound editing I can think of. It's just like all of these like really beautiful, precise things, and then just nothing.
Wow.
And it's just like it shakes you in your seat. It like jars you. And I also the radio transmission that they do in the film sounds identical to the original, but it's actually the actors doing it.
Whoa.
And that's really impressive. So
That's awesome.
so yeah, I picked that for both. But they're all really good. I mean, yeah. I don't know. You're right. Bohemian Rhapsody and Quiet Place.
It's a tough call.
What I love about Quiet Place is, again, going back to like really specific sounds, because there's so much of it in just silence that when there is a sound, it has to be perfect.
Right.
If somebody fumbles that job, that movie doesn't work.
Right.
So it's very, very important.
And also, I mean, Black Panther, incredible sound, but I feel like these couple movies, sound is a much bigger part of the story.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to get points in the voting department.
Sound mixing. So this is the person who mixes the sound decides how the audience hears everything. So like placing echoes and mixing things together and what's louder, like is the music louder than the dialogue so you can barely hear the dialogue, or is it really important to hear the dialogue, that kind of stuff. So putting all those individual pieces together and making them work as one unit.
Yeah.
So on this one, Steve, you go first.
Interesting, because I picked for both Black Panther.
Oh, interesting.
I think Panther will win sound mixing.
Cool.
I don't have any justification for that other than, again, like I said, the sound was really good. You know, you got the segment where like all the different tribes are showing up at the challenge and whatnot, and you got stampeding animals, magnet train. You know, we were able to hear T'Challa's voice, even though he was just whispering the whole way through the movie.
But I think it's a really interesting choice too, because like when you think about the scenes when they're on the waterfall fighting, both those scenes, and like how much had to go into the tribes chanting, dialogue, fight sounds, the sounds of a waterfall in a jungle, and music, like that's got to be super difficult with a loud situation, like a loud location
and
like that.
And I was totally thinking about absolutely all of that. So thank you for asking me first.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm next on sound mixing.
Great.
I picked both Want and my whole ballot's gonna be like this. Picked Want and Will Win for Bohemian Rhapsody. I think the way they made all those sequences work together is, especially the Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, we Desiree and I watched this behind the scenes featurette where they showed they had regular people submit them singing Bohemian Rhapsody on a website, and then they took a bunch of those and layered them together and put an echo in, because that's who the crowd is in the Wembley Stadium, is regular people who submitted on a website.
Wow. Oh, why didn't I see that?
Yeah, and like so cool. Like how they like layered all that in, and then with the music, and then with Freddie's voice, it's just really, really, really cool. Wow. But
that
yeah,
Wembley Stadium scene. Mwah.
Yeah, it's one of the best scenes last year, I thought.
Yeah. For real.
But yeah, so I picked Bohemian Rhapsody to win.
Yeah.
And I loved that. As much as I love these other movies, Star is Born I really, really liked. And again, when you're dealing with concert stuff, I think it's always a challenge to try to make all that stuff work together.
Very true.
But Bohemian Rhapsody. So Alexis.
So after hearing you, Steve, talk about Black Panther, I totally agree that it was...
You don't have to.
No, I do.
Oh.
I loved Black Panther. I thought it was amazing, and we'll get into that later. But I did end up choosing Bohemian Rhapsody for both personal choice and win.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just impeccable. Mm-hmm. Like, so obviously he wasn't singing to Freddie Mercury's voice. It was a blend of this guy who is a Freddie Mercury impersonator and his voice.
And Rami Malek, all three of them, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the way that they were able to blend that, and it seemed as if he was singing.
Have you seen the video of him doing the one take of the impersonator? There's a video online of him sitting at a piano and he sings Bohemian Rhapsody all in one take.
Wow.
And he sounds almost identical to Freddie Mercury. It's insane.
It's a tough voice.
Well, it's interesting because, in the movie that he talks about how his teeth are forward. Yeah. And so he has that like concave thing in his mouth. This guy, when he does Freddie, he kind of like changes the way his mouth, like he pulls his jaw back to kind of, I think, create that.
That totally
effect.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, as a singer, like the space in your mouth feels differently. Like I used to have tonsils, and they were so large that they held the back of my tongue down.
Oh, wow.
And
Interesting.
when I got them taken out, I had to relearn how to sing because there was no muscle holding that down.
Whoa.
I mean, there was, but I had to train it because...
Yeah.
But I just... Sorry, that's random.
Cool.
No.
But,
cool.
Bohemian Rhapsody all the way.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Radical.
We've come to the moment where we get to bring in a fourth person for one category.
Oh, yeah.
Production design. Desi.
Hey! I've been here the whole time.
Okay, so production design, just real quick, we got The Favorite, Black Panther, Roma, First Man, and Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, she does.
Right? Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's right. That's right. I think all definitely worthy of the nomination.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like,
No,
there's
no.
nothing on there that I'm like, oh, why'd that get on there?
Sure.
I had a kind of a hard time. First Man and Roma are both really good. I don't think they're as good as the other three that are on this list,
Okay.
personally.
I have a question about that, but we'll follow up in a second.
Okay. I will say that Roma, because it's in black and white, might have been harder for me to, like, go, oh, the set design is really good.
Well,
you know,
actually, that's my follow-up now, since you're talking about Roma.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think the fact that Roma is like all locations hurts?
Maybe, but not necessarily, because The Favorite is
Also on location.
also on location almost entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between Roma and The Favorite is that you have like something that's hundreds of years old versus something that's like 50 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like something's really, really more modern and we're used to versus something that like people dream about getting to go see in person.
Right.
And I don't think people like typically dream of seeing like houses in Mexico City.
In the 70s.
In this, yeah.
I mean, it is very good, and especially, like, you know, there's scenes where she's going in and out of rooms on the upper floor, and, like, the camera is in one place.
In Roma? Or,
yeah, in
okay.
Roma. And she's, like, going between the different rooms, like, doing her job, like, picking things up and putting things away and making beds.
Yeah.
And, like, you're not going with her, you're the house, and you're just watching her
Turn the
go
lights
through all
off. When she
these
turns lights
rooms.
off, it's like awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is good. I think it deserves a nomination. It's not what I picked.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Mary Poppins is excellent. But it's also not my pick.
Whoa.
Well, they did a lot of like really interesting like practical effects that like
Yeah.
worked in conjunction, like the bathtub thing is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting.
Yes,
For anybody that
it is.
doesn't know, she actually slid down a slide in the bathtub backwards.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
there's like
So
a bathtub
cool.
without a bottom, and then like bubbles over it, and she goes like through the bubbles down a slide.
What the
Backwards,
heck?
yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like you can see the video of it
Wow.
online.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's fantastic.
How did they keep the bubbles in the bathtub?
Magic.
I guess so.
Magic bubbles, Steve.
But not your pick.
Not my pick.
Okay.
I had a really hard time between Black Panther and The Favorite, which
Oh.
are
I love
very
it.
different. Black Panther, I really respect because you know you're completely creating something that does not exist, like a whole city and sets and this environment that is their culture, and it's incredible. Like they did such a good job with it.
Well, like the roofs, the thatch roofs on the like tall, almost like skyrise buildings,
Right,
was really,
yeah,
really like
the,
interesting.
The mixture of that sort of modern and that, you know, old school African feel is plus technology is like blows my mind a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I was always intrigued by when he goes down to Shuri's lab. They go kind of down that like spirally, and it's like circular.
Yeah.
That whole room, that whole lab is circular, And that always, like, I don't know why, but something about that is really, really intriguing to me on a visual level.
Yeah. That whole movie is incredible. I mean, the costume design is amazing too. But, well, that's going to come up later, I'm sure. The favorite, I actually didn't see, but in preparation, I watched some, sort of behind the scenes on the production design and stuff, and it was really interesting because it is all shot on location, but the location is not, like, they change a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like, they create the environment of the movie within this historical location and building and setting, and, like, they show some sort of pictures of, like, how it is normally if you go there as a tourist, and it's very different. It's really interesting to me. Like, they use the architecture, and they use a lot of the, like the paintings, for example, but they strip it down a lot.
Yeah, right.
Partially to make it more true to the time period, but also partially to make it more true to the feel of the film.
Sure.
So that's, again, a lot of thought went into that process, and it's very stylized, and it's not 100%, it's not like she was like, well, I'm just going to recreate this historically accurate, what it looked like. It's has its own story.
So
what?
I was going to ask, so is this your pick?
I think the favorite will win, but I kind of want Black Panther to win.
Fair enough. All right.
That's my picks.
Thank you for high fives for you. Okay, so I'm next on production design. I picked the favorite for both. I think generally in this category, if you have a period piece, they almost always win, which is why I picked it. Having watched behind the scenes stuff on it, that's why I ended up wanting it to win. Just having seen what furniture they normally have in that place and what they replaced in there is a very stark contrast between what's normally in that as sort of like a museum, and then what they brought in themselves. And I was like, they should just leave the stuff from the movie in there because it looks so much better. I was just really, really impressed with like the thought that went into making those scenes work. And I think you kind of alluded to this idea that they used multiple locations in different ways. So like they just would redress a location or shoot it from another angle with different lighting. And they were able to like kind of stay in this one place and use it in different ways. So I always a lot of respect for
like dressing for the different events
the
that
different
happen
events.
in the same room.
Right.
Like
the
that's
race
very,
and
there's like
the ball and the party,
like dinner party versus dancing versus like shenanigans, like all of that would happen in the same room, but like furniture gets moved around, things get dressed up for parties, it's really
and they all have a different feel.
Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive about it. So that was why I picked the way I did. Alexis, you're next.
Production design. It was also a tough one for me, mainly between Black Panther and The Favorite. I loved Mary Poppins Returns, but I had some issues with it.
Oh.
Mainly the one that sticks out the most is the bike scene where they're like run back and forth
on the ladder and stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
because I saw Big Wheel Huffies in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do all of this creative
she's waving her finger,
CGI stuff...
It's getting serious.
If you can't, like fix the wheels, like, in post, if you can't make them look like old-time...
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of doing everything else in the film?
Yeah.
Wow.
It really, really pulled me out, and I was angry the rest of the film.
Oh, no.
So you're saying you saw like BMX, like tread kind of wheels?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mixed in with these like really beautiful old school,
Right.
like metal rickety bikes. And I get why they had to use those because you can't do that on the rickety bike,
Right.
but it pulled me out completely.
Yeah.
And that they lost a lot of points on that one.
Ooh.
Okay, fair enough.
And I really loved The Favorite. It was just stunning. And I love how they blended, it was definitely a period piece, but they took some liberties with it and really funked it up. But I went with Black Panther.
Oh, cool.
Wait,
that's so for both?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. I like it.
Black Panther for both.
I like it.
It was I was so excited about that film while I was watching it. And, like, I feel like I'm kind of a hard sell. I get very picky.
Oh, yeah, sure. Apparently bikes.
Wow.
It made me angry.
So this is the one before we started
bike
recording that
tire
you were
sound.
angry about?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Yes. I was like, I'll tell you later. But I thought Black Panther, in each location they were at, they really went all the way. And I was so pleased the entire time I was watching it. So I feel like they should win for production design.
Cool. I'm just going to run to the bathroom real quick. And then... G'day, everyone. I assume Steve is next
Okay.
for production design. I want to thank Steve for inviting me to fill in for him for this one category. My name's Andy Serkis. You might remember me from King Kong. But I was also in a movie. You probably couldn't recognise me. In a movie called Black Panther. And it looks like my friend Steve has picked Black Panther to win and also as his should win. So I'm Andy Serkis. Watch King Kong, directed by Peter Jackson. It's only 14 years old. And thank you very much. Steve's coming back from the bathroom there.
So I do have something to say about Black Panther.
Oh, guys, what happened?
Not to be contrarian, but and I do respect a lot about Black Panther, the design of Black Panther. So much of that is green screen.
Yeah, very true.
I wonder if that's going to hurt its chances.
It probably will.
If you look at, like, especially like a lot of the outdoor stuff, it's if you look at behind the scenes photos, it's like 2 actors and giant blocks of green around them, and then like a little bit of trees. Like most of the forest was green screened.
Yeah.
Most of the buildings were green screened.
But the production designer still has to design what that looks like.
Very true.
One might argue.
may
One
hurt
may
it,
one might
but-
argue that would fall under visual effects.
Maybe.
Well, then in the same respect, what about Mary Poppins Returns?
Mary Poppins Returns used a lot of like actual practical effects though.
Okay.
Like all the bikes.
Like a lot of a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff they did in Mary Poppins is bikes. So I mean not bikes. It's physical. She said bikes. It made me say bikes. There we go. Bikes on the break. Yeah. I mean I think all of these films have some green screen. Mm-hmm. So you're not Roma, and probably some in The Favorite. There's probably a little bit green screen. Maybe some of the outdoor stuff they might have zhuzhed it, but I don't know for sure. But most films now have green screen, but like Marvel films have a crazy amount. I mean, when you look at outdoor stuff, especially like a lot of the terrain in any Marvel film does not exist in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
So
To be fair, some of those screens are blue.
okay, fair enough. You're right.
I can't wait for purple.
I'm not
screens.
saying it shouldn't win. I'm not saying it was a bad pick.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that's going to hurt it in some way.
It very well could.
Okay.
It very well could. It's
Good for
like
you.
it's visual synthesizing, you know?
Yeah.
People hate synth pop. They might hate synth viz.
Okay.
Did I get to read mine when I was in the bathroom? What happened?
Andy Serkis read it for you.
Oh, did he leave?
Yeah.
Imagine air quotes around Andy Serkis.
Whoa, man. That guy's cool. I can't do an impression of him at all. So I was really glad to know that he was here for at least a minute.
Cool. Moving on. So we got costume. Alexis is going to lead that off. Thanks, Desi, for your help. Mm-hmm. What you got for us, Alexis?
It was really hard for me.
Yeah.
Like incredibly difficult because Mary Queen of Scots had incredible costumes, and I love me a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really feeling Mary Queen of Scots. I was really feeling The Favorite because they were just so stunning, and Mary Poppins Returns was very fun and like different. They kept with the time, the theme, but they definitely played with it. Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it was fine. It was not my fave. I also didn't like it. So that...
But that's a Coen Brothers movie for you.
Yeah, and Coen Brothers are hit or miss for me.
Right. You got to watch them a fifth time, and then it all falls into place.
Right.
That's the tricky part with those guys. You have to force yourself through 4 screenings.
But I actually went with Black Panther for both.
Oh.
Okay.
Because they created tribe wear that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I loved how they played with, like, even I know it doesn't go with costumes, but like their makeup, and it just all went together so beautifully. And I just really loved it.
Yeah.
So I went with Black Panther for both my choice and what I believe will win.
I love it.
Excellent.
Steve, what you got?
Oh, hang on. I got to go blow my nose.
No, come on.
Good day. It's me, the guy who played Black Panther. And I think Steve, it looks like he selected Black Panther to win, and as he should win, in costume design. I'm not Andy Serkis. I'm the guy who played Black Panther. Bye.
Gosh.
Oh, hey guys, what did I miss?
So what I like about costume design this year is that they're all different time periods.
Totally.
And in different styles. So it was really tough to decide who I think will win. I kind of like production design. I think costume tends to lean heavily into period, especially if there's lots of frills and bows and ruffles and whatever. So between Mary Queen of Scots and The Favorite, I chose The Favorite. I think it probably has the better shot, especially because they played with some non-traditional gender costumes for that period. My want is Black Panther, not just for the reasons you said, but also because every costume means something in that film, and I'm a big fan of like color psychology and the fact that like. You know, you've got 3 characters that represent like the Pan-African flag, and then you also have like Andy Serkis comes in and he's
is he in that?
And he's wearing like colonial blue.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I just thought there was just so much thought put into, and I think, you know, what you were saying about the tribes, like creating outfits for tribes that don't exist, but also like respecting what does exist.
Yes.
It was so important, and it's a very important film. I don't think it's going to win, but I want it to. If it wins, I'll be even though I won't get the points, as many points, I'll be very happy that it won.
Yes.
Okay. Hair and makeup. Steve, what you got for me?
Hair and makeup. Where is it on the page
I think
here?
it's in the middle, maybe. Yeah, it's right in the middle almost. It says makeup and
came
hair.
first.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I think Mary Queen of Scots probably will win. I put Vice for my should win. However, since Darkest Hour just won for a very similar kind of thing, I think that Vice probably won't for that reason. So I think Mary Queen of Scots probably will. I think Vice should. We'll keep it simple.
Okay. It's my turn. I picked Vice for both. Will win and want to win. I didn't see Vice.
Oh.
I actually haven't seen any of these movies. I know I've seen visuals and stuff from them, but and I know a lot about them. The reason I picked Vice is like, you know, Christian Bale gaining 40 pounds aside, like being able to show him at different eras of Dick Cheney's life, and that transformation, the fact that he was like in like makeup for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, I think this says a lot. I think you have a really good point that maybe the fact that Darkest Hour won could hurt its chances.
Right.
But I kind of, not to spoil anything coming up, but I kind of don't think Vice is going to take much at the Academy Awards.
Right.
So I think this maybe is its shot to jump in there. There's one or two plays, but anyways. But yeah, so that's my pick, both Vice.
Nice.
What you got, Alexis?
I really want Mary Queen of Scots to win. I thought it was beautiful. They stuck with the theme. They stuck with how, like, so Queen Elizabeth at a certain point in her life cut all of her hair off and turned it all into wigs.
Oh wow.
And so they were able, she developed some illness and she got like
blotches.
pock marks
Yeah.
all
Elizabeth
over
the
her.
First?
Yes.
I never knew about this.
Well, because they usually make her pretty
Very true.
in films, and so I love that they stuck with how she actually, well,
Right.
you know, how we imagine she looked, and it just was stunning. And they showed how she like wore a ridiculous amount of makeup. She never took her makeup off.
Oh.
Ever. They always just kept putting more and more on. And so they made it look like she never took her makeup off.
Wait, did she not like bathe?
She never washed her face.
Whoa.
Crazy.
It was a vanity thing because she wanted to look prettier.
I used to think of like the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
Saoirse Ronan was just fantastic. The whole... I thought that is what should win. However, I think that Vice is going to win.
Right.
Because of, you know, the prosthetics that were put on Christian Bale and the dude that played
Oh, Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell.
He had to eat a chicken wing with all that makeup on.
Well, there's a couple of like more subtle, like Amy Adams and Steve Carell in it, which is way more subtle, obviously, than the others. But like, I don't want to say dumbed down, but like they kind of dumbed down Amy Adams. I mean, like they made her look a little more plain than she is.
Yes.
You know, and that says a lot.
They also transformed Medea into General Colin Powell.
Yeah.
That was pretty daring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, well,
Oh.
that lady who plays
Yes.
Medea played General Colin Powell.
Oh boy.
By the way, it's me again. I've worn one of those Queen Elizabeth wigs. Okay, bye.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to visual effects. We start with Steve again.
Where is it on the page?
I think it's on the right, near the
Oh,
third finish.
yeah. There we go. All right, visual effects.
Yep.
Some pretty good stuff in this category.
There is some good stuff in this category.
Part of me wanted to go with Solo,
Oh yeah.
just because I love the big reveal when they're making the Kessel Run,
Sure.
but that's not enough to get it an Academy Award.
Okay.
I want Avengers Infinity War to win, and I think Avengers Infinity War will win.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Solo for a second.
All right.
Because they did some really cool stuff with that. Instead of just going straight digital, like when they go into hyperspace
Yeah.
in the Millennium Falcon, they had a giant rear projection screen in front of them that
Whoa.
projected the hyperspace, so that way the lights were accurate on the actors, and
Oh,
they could
that's
actually
cool.
react to what was going to be shown digitally on screen.
Wow.
Really cool idea.
That is a cool
So
idea.
they did some really neat, like, sort of mixtures of physical or practical and CG.
I didn't know
Which I
that.
thought was kind of cool.
Way to go, Solo.
I picked Avengers of Infinity War to win. It is one of the biggest special effects extravaganzas I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
such an ambitious film. They like married so many like different films together.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
it's-
just think about how incredible just the scene where Nebula is
Oh,
is
yeah, when they turn the
disconnected.
camera, yeah.
That's incredible, and
So
that's
cool.
such a small moment.
yeah.
Please continue.
That's not the one I wanted to win.
No, you think it will win? You
I think
want
it will.
Something else to
I
win.
want Ready Player One to
I knew
win.
you were going to say that.
Wow.
You think that because of Spielberg or because of what I'm about to say? All right, so
Because Chucky shows up.
no,
Oh.
it's not the CG stuff that actually. For the reasons I think Avengers will win,
Yeah.
those aren't the reasons why I wanted this to win, because there was a lot of characters and a lot of like mixing of those things that we just
Yeah.
talked about. It was the work that they did behind the scenes to
All
make
right.
that visual stuff work. So like they built like the shape of a DeLorean with pipes and actually had them in a car, and they were
Wow.
shaking it during motion capture stuff.
That's cool.
For like the some of the Oasis stuff, I think for like the nightclub, they actually digitally built that world in VR.
Yeah.
So the actors could have VR on when they were doing their motion capture. So they're looking
That's-
at the... Because characters are different heights.
Right.
So they're actually looking at the place that they're supposed to be looking.
That's
which is
incredible.
like awesome. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of a director doing that. Like, it's revolutionary.
I didn't even know that happened for this movie. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... And man, the freaking Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, that was rad.
That whole sequence is unbelievable. It looks so real. They got every detail down.
Yeah.
To just such a fine point.
Yeah.
That I really wish it could win, but I know it's not going to.
I think they should have put a Shelley Duvall running around in there, though.
Yeah.
How much fun would that have been if Shelley Duvall had been running around with the bat? You know, throw her some money for the likeness rights and what have you.
Yeah, I assume they didn't want to deal with the likeness stuff.
I almost want to change my vote now to Ready Player One because of what you've said, and also because of the Buckaroo Banzai shout out in that movie. I was so amazed that was in there.
Part of me really wants to say change it, but I know
No,
that's
I
against the rules.
I understand.
All right, Alexis, it's your turn. Visual effects.
Okay. So I said Avengers Infinity War, even though this is going to be an unpopular statement, but I hated that movie.
Really?
I did not like it at all.
That makes me so sad.
Wow.
You know,
Just because of the overall story, or?
It was the BMX bike riding.
The BMX bikes. It just seemed so unnecessary to me.
Huh.
If you had had the dialogue, it would have taken maybe 10 minutes. If you just broke it down, it would have just been 10 minutes of speaking.
Fair enough.
But, so how do you argue, like, against show don't tell? Right? Like, yeah, you could explain and have a conversation about all this stuff, but
Right.
like, isn't the point like that there's all of these moving pieces for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
And now those pieces have to converge in some way?
Right.
Yeah. I just didn't.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just offering
I
another.
understand. I just didn't find it interesting.
Okay,
Whoa.
that's
I was kind of bored the whole time.
okay.
Bored the whole
I'm curious how you're
time.
going to handle the next one, because
I
the
know.
next one's like 3 hours.
I know. I'll still go and see it.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be
I
huge.
can't wait. I almost just want to be put into a coma until that.
A little piece of me feels the same way,
Right.
Steve.
But
Right.
I do think that what they did was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
With
agree.
the people deteriorating and
Yeah. Spoilers.
Uh-oh.
if you haven't seen it yet,
You
shame
live
on
the
you.
moon.
Yeah. My brother just watched it for the first time in December. Josh Brolin's stuff in it too, like how expressive Thanos is,
Oh, yeah.
and that's just that face is all digital. You know, I know they did, reference for him with the dots on his face, but man, there's a lot. They turned that character into like sort of a character you can empathize with in a way,
Right.
even though you don't agree with them. And that all comes down to how expressive that face is. So
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, as they say in the commentary, Infinity War is Thanos' hero movie, Like,
Sure,
it
yeah.
starts with Thanos, and it's about him getting what he wants, whereas all the other movies have been those other heroes going after what they want. And now it's, sure, he is the villain, but it is, in this particular movie, he's the hero,
Yeah.
in air quotes. That B word. That big purple
And just
B
in
word.
reference to the show don't tell thing,
yeah.
a lot of the fighting I just felt was unnecessary.
Oh.
Okay.
Like I'm kind of a person who doesn't like unnecessary violence,
Okay.
and so
I mean, that's the whole
yeah,
I mean, they're
the whole
superheroes.
thing they're fighting is unnecessary, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So I can understand that.
yeah.
And come on, giant Peter Dinklage. That was wonderful.
Giant Peter Dinklage. All right. So our next topic is documentary short subject, which is on the kind of near the top of the middle column here.
Top
on our
of the
balance.
middle column.
And we're starting with me. Okay. Conflicted about this one. Did you go home and watch?
Much part of it.
Did you watch part of it? Oh man, you gotta watch the end of it. The end is so good. So we got Black Sheep, Endgame, Lifeboat, Night at the Garden, period, end of sentence. I initially kind of was wondering if I was going to pick Lifeboat because it's about people trying to rescue refugees in the water.
Oh, wow.
The reason I didn't pick that is because we've had 2 years this will be the third year in a row of Oscar documentary short subjects where that is a topic.
Ah.
So I decided against that one. I picked both both things, A Night at the Garden. I think it's so topical right now. There's a little bit of controversy with Fox not willing to show the commercial for it on there because they don't think it will play to their audience, which tells you a lot about the Fox News audience.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Night at the Garden is Alexis is shocked over there. Is a telling of this night at Madison Square Garden where they had Nazis and KKK members celebrating America First. Whoops. And yeah, it's very short. It's less than 8 minutes, and it is so timely and shocking that I don't think people realize that Nazis were celebrating in America,
right. In New York.
In New York, in Madison Square Garden in the
1939.
39, yeah.
Wow.
And like they show them, like doing the Pledge of Allegiance with the Nazi salute, which is how they used to do that. And, it was eventually changed to differentiate ourselves from the Nazis. But
wait, the Pledge of Allegiance used to be like...
Yeah. Yeah. I think people used to do that during the Star Spangled Banner too.
Whoa.
They sing the Star Spangled Banner in the documentary, but I don't remember if they show the audience or not. But yeah, it's very sad and hard to deal with documentary short, but I think because it's so relevant right now. But I picked it as my both. I think we'll win. I want it to win because of what I just said.
Yeah.
I was very torn. Period, end of sentence is so freaking good. And it's so uplifting. And it's sort of the antithesis to A Night at the Garden in a lot of ways. Because it's so uplifting and it makes you feel good. But I think this other one's more important. Okay, so next we have Alexis.
Cool. I chose period, end of sentence.
Yeah, for both?
For both. Because I think that it's something that needs to be talked about.
Sure.
Women know what a period is like.
Right.
And so many men are very ignorant to how it occurs, what goes on.
Sure.
Like
why it occurs.
Why it occurs. There was a man who thought that you could control when your period happened.
Right.
Whoa.
You just willed it to happen.
Like a politician, right? Wasn't it
wow.
If I could will my period to never happen, that is how it would be.
Yeah.
It's not something that's enjoyable. You can't it's
right.
And I feel like it's just a very important message that should be given out. I wish that these were everyone knew about these shorts because they are really important. All of these are very important, but I personally, as a woman, I feel like period, end of sentence is where it should be.
I don't want to give too much away because you haven't seen the whole thing.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
But I do want to address for people listening, it's more than just about that.
Right.
It's the reason I actually really like it. I went into it when I saw it on Netflix, the little thing up there. I didn't even know what it was about, and I was like, oh, I bet that's going to be about grammar or there's a whole documentary on Helvetica, right? So and I watched it. So I kind of thought that it was going to be about something like that, or syntax or something. And then I started watching it and I was like, oh, okay, this is the ride I'm in for. And I was at first intrigued and kind of what you were saying. I was telling myself, this is probably a very important issue. Pay attention to what they're talking about. Don't be a dude. And then learning that it's not just about periods, but about how a culture sees period, the process. Mm-hmm. But then it's really about empowerment. Mm-hmm. And there was something so moving about people figuring out what their value is. That's a real soft spot for me. A movie that talks about people's value is really, really something that I gravitate toward. And so I don't know. I was really moved by it and I wanted to pick it. I really, really wanted to pick it, but I think the other one, while this is very important, you're not wrong. I don't disagree with that. I'm really worried about, like, not to get too political, I'm really worried about what's going on in our own country right now. And I'm worried about, like, you know...
We got that emergency at the border.
I'm
gotta do something about that.
I'm worried about my wife.
I'm joking, everybody.
My wife wants to go to, you know, a women's march or whatever. I'm worried about her safety. And, you know... So that's why I ended up choosing that over them. But anyways, I'm sorry.
I feel you.
I digress. Steve, what you got for us?
I didn't know what any of these were about.
Cool.
So I went with Avengers Endgame will win.
But
I want Black Sheep starring Chris Farley and David Spade to win.
Is that really what you picked?
That's what I picked.
Okay.
Endgame will win. Black Sheep 2 is what I want to win.
For those that don't know, that is not what either of those documentaries are about.
Wait, I'm completely wrong?
You were completely wrong. That's okay.
Oh, boy.
Good, but fun picks. All right. Documentary. Alexis.
Documentary feature?
Yes.
Yes.
We just did short subject.
Yes. I said RBG for both.
Okay.
Yep.
Any, obvious reasons, or?
Because, you know, she's been very popular.
She's a national treasure.
As of late.
National treasure.
You know? And if people didn't see I saw her, the other film, like the actual film.
On the Basis of Sex?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was incredible, and I loved getting to learn more about her. But I liked, you know...
I didn't see On the Basis of Sex. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Sorry, I have food in my mouth.
Sex food.
From the trailer,
Yes.
I felt like it didn't... I haven't seen the movie. It didn't feel genuine. After having watched the documentary, like, in the documentary, they talk a lot about how, like, she wasn't funny. She only spoke when she felt she needed to. Mm-hmm. The trailer for the movie makes her look, like, quippy and, like, one-linery. And
the trailer does do that.
But it's not like that in the film?
No, and
okay.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg was, like, the consultant for the film.
Yeah.
So she said, like, this is how this should be done.
Okay. Kind
of thing. Like, I saw it at the SAG building, and Armie Hammer and...
Oh, okay. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was there?
Oh, I wish.
Geez.
No. And...
Felicity
Jones. They were there, and they spoke about getting to work with Ruth and,
wow,
like, figuring out how things should be done. And she got to work with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Wow.
On the character as a whole.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
I feel better about it.
Yeah.
About that movie. I mean,
right.
There's no basis on this
right.
documentary thing.
But I enjoy learning about people in our culture.
Yeah.
And that are an important part of our law system.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
dare I say, maybe she might be the most important part of it right now, because she seems to be the only one who's still sticking up for everybody, and not just special interests. God deliver us.
So I went political in my choice.
No, that's okay. Steve.
Documentary feature?
Feature.
I also went with RBG will win and should win.
Okay.
For pretty much the same reasons as our friend Alexis here. I think of based on I've seen none of them, and I don't know what the others are about than Free Solo. But I do think her story is probably the most important to tell at the moment.
Okay. All right. So just real quick. So Free Solo is a National Geographic film about rock climbing without gear.
Right.
I did not like that one.
I thought that was the front runner.
All right.
I no longer believe that.
So
I did not vote for it.
All right.
Hell County this evening, just for anybody that's interested, it's available to watch on somewhere. The Guardian maybe, or PBS. It's on PBS's website, I believe.
Oh, all right.
A Fathers and Sons is available on Canopy, so if you have a library card, your library probably participates, and you can watch it for free that way.
Canopy.
I picked RBG will win. I think there's just a lot of momentum behind her as a personality right now. Mm-hmm. Not just a personality. I don't mean to.
Right, she's not a Kardashian. She's a Supreme
Yeah,
Court
I don't.
justice.
I don't mean to
She's
lessen
jumping
her
ahead.
importance or anything. But she is sort of a marketable thing right now. So I think that's got a lot of momentum. So I think it'll win. The one I want to win is Minding the Gap. It's my favorite of all of these. Did you see it, Alexis? You're nodding over there.
No, but I've read about it.
You didn't see it.
I haven't seen it. Is that about skateboarding?
It's about kind of, yeah.
Kind of about skateboarding.
So Minding the Gap is on Hulu. So you can watch it. If you have a Hulu subscription, you can watch it for free.
Cool.
I watched it last year as part of my 365 movie challenge. I found it, again, very, very moving. It's not... It is... You asked if it was about skateboarding a little bit.
Okay.
Skateboarding is sort of the vehicle that these three friends escape.
No pun intended.
And they... But the film sort of explores domestic violence and how your upbringing sort of forms who you are as an adult, and sort of like kind of picking at your scabs.
Ooh.
and figuring out like what's really underneath the wound. And I thought it was, if this wins, it will be, I think it'll be a huge upset, but I think it would be so incredibly well deserved because it's, in my opinion, probably the most thoughtful of all of them. And the most like true and from the heart. The guy who made the film, also was one of the skateboarders, the three friends. This is a very personal story, and he sits down and has a very difficult conversation with both his mother and his brother in the film, and it's I think very much very, very important, especially in the kind of world of toxic masculinity and sort of what breeds that. So that was my pick for that one there.
I like it.
Okay. Foreign film. Steve, what you got, brah?
Foreign film, smack in the middle of the page. I think Roma will win, and I think it probably should win based on everything I've heard about it. Also, the bottom line is the Academy Awards, bit of a popularity contest going on. I've heard everybody talking about Roma. I've heard nobody talking about these other movies nominated.
Oh.
That's
Go with
surprising.
Roma.
You are sheltered from the
You guys have heard a lot of chatter about the other four?
one of them in
One.
particular. Yeah, one in particular.
Capernaum,
No,
Cold War,
Cold War. Yeah,
Never Look Away. Oh, you already
a
answered.
lot of talk about Cold War.
All right.
Okay, so Alexis. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm next. I'm sorry. Did you want to expand?
No,
on that?
that'll do it for me.
I picked Roma for both. I think it deserves it. I think when I look at a foreign film, does it represent the country that it's coming from really well? And I feel like it's probably the best. It does the best job of that, especially with like talking about the murders that happened and sort of the culture that they lived in, especially in the 70s. Again, it was another one of those. It's like a very personal story that that only just rings true. There's nothing about that doesn't ring true. So I picked that. Cold War there's a lot of talk about Cold War. If Roma doesn't win, I gotta think it's Cold War that wins. But I picked Roma for both.
Excellent.
I picked Roma that is probably going to win. I wanted Cold War to
Okay.
win.
Why?
I mean, it just speaks more to me
Okay.
as a person.
It's visually like incredible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Why don't I even know what Cold War is about? Is
don't
it
know,
about
man.
the Cold War?
The Cold War in Poland
In Poland, all right.
in the 50s.
Oh, okay, okay.
And here I pulled up the thing in case I forgot. It's two people from different backgrounds. Their temperaments begin at an almost impossible romance. So it's
Oh, romance.
um,
All right. So it's not a sequel to Frozen.
No,
Okay.
but the trailer's out.
that will be coming soon.
All right.
Which, by the way, that looks incredible. I'm not a fan of Frozen, but the sequel to Frozen looks amazing.
It looks really great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's That's where I stand.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
All right, we're going to go to editing. Oh, I'm starting on this one. Okay, where is it? Editing. Film editing. Okay.
Right above foreign language.
All right. Now, this was a tough one because I haven't seen 2 of these. But the one I picked for both was one I haven't seen.
Oh.
I picked Vice to win, and I want it to win. And the reason I want it to win is I know that group's work.
Yeah.
And I know how freaking talented they are. And I just really like pushing people I really love and am passionate about. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody had really cool editing in it as well, but I thought it was a little obvious in its editing, and there was nothing that like excited me about how that movie was cut. Green Book's kind of the same way. Like, it's so straightforward. Black Klansman's probably the one that would have me the most excited after the idea of Vice. Just because there's like that really cool 70s sensibility about it, about how it just like flows. But yeah, so I picked Vice to win and want. Alexis.
I have seen every single movie in this category,
Yay!
which was very exciting for me. So I had a lot to think about. I think every film had really wonderful editing. Yes, I agree. Green Book was very straightforward. Black Klansman was creative. You've both seen Black Klansman. A lot of the scenes were just very stunning in how everything was put together. I thought The Favorite was fantastic. I chose Bohemian Rhapsody for both, though.
Okay.
So I went in a totally different direction than you did. Because I just felt that the way that it was put together, even though it wasn't historically accurate, it was done very well. Right. So I chose that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve?
I went for twice the Vice.
Oh.
Nice. Vice will win. Vice should win.
Man,
it's as simple as that.
I'll ask the question since I haven't seen it, but generally those guys are just like so snappy with their editing. It's like it's almost musical, which is why I like really like them.
Yeah.
So that's what is that holdover in Vice, like, you know, like
when
I
think
think
about
about like
so for sure.
when you think about like The Big Short, for example,
Right.
like it's just like there's something rhythmic about how they cut a film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really like a straight like story. It was very like, here's the thing that's coming next.
Right. But it never really I didn't get lost at any point, which was extremely helpful. And also, I mean, when W's eating that chicken wing, like when he starts the scene, it's a full wing, and it gets more and more eaten. They never backtrack to where he's got more chicken.
Some good continuity. It's like saying, so there's a good script supervisor.
Exactly. They made sure that chicken wing continuity was on point.
Okay.
Be my boss. I don't think that's a real quote.
I'm super excited for the next category,
which is
animated feature film.
Ooh, we're talking left side of the page, right about the middle there.
All right. So we have Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Mirai. I have not seen one of these, but
what?
Wow.
You haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse?
Right. Alexis, you get to talk first.
I get to talk first?
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, hands down.
Both?
It was incredible. Yeah,
Okay.
both. It was stunning. It had a really great story. I think it speaks to everybody. And I love the fact that they like retold the story of Spider-Man in like a different way. Not retold it
in a fun way.
They reimagined it. That Spider-Man isn't just one person.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a Spider-Man.
And they acknowledged that you've heard the story again in kind of a fun tongue-in-cheek way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they acknowledged Spider-Man 2, which for my money is still my favorite of the Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yeah, that also as well.
You know, they originally were going to try
and 3.
They originally were trying to get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire to
do
voices in the film, but they I think they either abandoned it or couldn't get it to happen.
Wow.
Something similar happened in the Spider-Verse comic book as well.
Whoa.
Because the Spider-Verse story in the comic is very, very different. It's not about Miles.
Yeah.
It's much more about all of them, but much more about Peter.
Oh.
every Spider-Man ever is in the comic book except for 2, which are Andrew Garfield and Tobey
Wow.
Maguire.
Yeah.
They reference them in the comic, but
Yeah.
That's wild.
oh, I think I just accidentally hit something on here.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, you want to talk a little bit more about Spider-Verse or anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay.
No.
Steve.
Well, I gotta keep it real and put my should win behind Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah,
I love Wreck-It Ralph so much. Wreck-It Ralph Part 1 was absolutely robbed when Brave won all those years ago. Brave's fine, but it wasn't the best animated that year.
And Wreck-It Ralph wasn't even nominated, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
And Brave won over Wreck-It Ralph, and that's a kick in the balls.
Okay.
Like, Brave's cool, Wreck-It Ralph's better. Sorry. So I really hope Wreck-It Ralph will win. It won't. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse will win because I listen to a whole lot of podcasts of all sorts of different subjects, but everybody is talking about how much they love Into the Spider-Verse. Most of the people on podcasts that I listen to are Academy voters, so I'm pretty sure just everybody's voting for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, starring the guy who played Shaolin Fantastic on The Get Down, whose name I forget right now.
Shameik Moore?
Shameik Moore, yes.
Yep.
I can't really remember that.
He was Shaolin Fantastic, right?
Yeah, no. Was he Shaolin Fantastic or was he...
Pretty sure. Whoever does the voice for Miles was Shaolin Fantastic.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if he was him or if it was Grandmaster Flash.
No.
Okay. I believe you.
Believe me on this.
So, I liked Incredibles 2.
Yeah? But is that what your should is?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I liked Isle of Dogs an awful lot. I'm not a Wes Anderson fan, as a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And I liked Isle of Dogs an awful lot. I did not see Mirai.
Neither did I.
I liked Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I liked the first one more.
Yeah.
I think
Understandable.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of the most important films for an audience in the last decade. I think, besides people of color, but also women, the fact that they made sure that they had, they represented Asians as well in the film. Visually, it just was like so different from every other animated film.
Very true.
The 3D was really cool too. But I just think it's such an important film. Probably, Black Panther's really similar. I think it's a really, really important hallmark for cinema. There's something really interesting about when you look at the marketing for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Something I noticed that was really cool. They knew exactly what it is that they wanted to do with this and who they wanted this movie to be for. And there's a commercial for Into the Spider-Verse, like toys. It's like a mask and like a little thing, and they've got a black kid, a black boy, and I think a white girl playing together, and the black kid's got the Miles mask on, and he's like doing this, and then the commercial ends, and it's like, the little title comes up, and it's like Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, get it in your toy stores, and then right at the very end, there's like a little stinger where the girl takes the mask and puts the mask on.
Oh,
and I was
nice.
like, they know exactly what they want this movie to be.
That's cool.
So, it gives me chills to think about that like they're empowering people of all genders and races to, like, kind of what you were saying, like everybody can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I picked that for both the win and want. I couldn't imagine any of us really picking something else, but
Yeah. I'll be amazed if anything else actually does win.
Right?
yeah.
I'll be very happy if Ralph wins, but he won't. Sorry, Ralph.
It's
I
a
love
hard
you.
year.
I'm sad
It's a hard
that
year.
I'm
It's a
sad
hard
that
year.
we talked about this last night. I'm sad that A Place Called Slaughter Race did not get nominated for original song. I'm so sad because I really wanted to see that
was
sung
beautiful.
on ABC.
Yeah. A place called Slaughter Race.
All right.
that's cool.
Original score. I'm going to start this one.
All right.
All right, so we've got Isle of Dogs, Mary Poppins Returns, Black Panther, Black Klansman, and If Beale Street Could Talk. I picked If Beale Street Could Talk for both Want and Will Win. I think it's the most specific to its movie. Like, I think it's the best pairing with its film. Isle of Dogs had a really, really like close call on this for me. But man, this soundtrack's so beautiful. It's so beautiful and like thought provoking, and it makes you want to listen to it over and over and over again, and it really pairs with the content of the film so well. More so than the others. I like Black Panther, but and I like the tribal stuff they did in the music, but it's kind of all the same throughout the film, I felt. Mary Poppins, great. The music with lyrics I thought was better and more memorable, so it's it was hard for me to think about what the score for Mary Poppins Returns sounded like, because all I could think of were the songs where they sing. So I chose Beale Street. Alexis.
I wanted Black Panther.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I liked the tribal sound.
Sure.
I
like it. Don't get me wrong.
No, of course. Yeah. It's not something that we get to hear that often.
Good point.
I appreciated it.
That's a good point.
However, upon listening to some of the songs from each, I think that Isle of Dogs will win.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Steve, what you got, bud?
Well, based on the fact that I do love dogs, I think Isle of Dogs will win. But I also think... Wait, I might have reversed it. All right, well, anyway, what's marked down is I think Isle of Dogs will win. And I, for some reason, put Mary Poppins Returns should win. But I think I'm basing that more on the fact that that's probably... I really reversed my markings here.
Can you fix them so that way when I grade them?
Sure.
All right.
So I think Mary Poppins will win because Disney has a much bigger machine. I think Isle of Dogs should win because I love dogs.
It's funny. I totally have a different pick, but you know what? I totally disagreed with you with the Coco song, and you were 100% right. So, you might be right. Disney does have a big machine.
Yeah.
Several. I mean, you've been to the park. They got all sorts of machines. Many of which are big.
Original song, Steve.
Original song. I went, I think I'll Fight for RBG should win.
Oh.
But I think it's pretty clear that Shallow from A Star Is Born will win.
Okay. Do you want to talk about any of the others?
No, I mean, again, there's a Mary Poppins in there, so that's got a pretty good chance. But yeah, I'm not familiar with too many of the others. I think RBG should. Shallow will. I feel like of all these songs, I've definitely heard Shallow talked about the most. And people seem to really love that movie.
So I'm next. I don't think there's any way Shallow doesn't win this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so shocked if Shallow doesn't win this.
It's Lady Gaga. Everybody loves her. It's a big hit.
So that's my pick for will win. It's also my pick for I want it to win. It's my of these songs. It's my favorite one.
It's the This Is Me of this year.
This Is Me didn't win though.
No, but it's that vibe. It's that same vibe.
I think it's
the big empowering anthem.
I think I'll Fight is probably more empowering, but I think the reason why I don't think I'll Fight will win is we've had multiple years in a row where we've had that kind of like fight song about like standing up and like doing the right thing, and none of those songs have won over the last several years. So for some reason I just don't think the Academy cares that much, but
could be.
It is a great song. I loved When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings.
Yeah,
I loved it so much. I was rooting for it when I saw it on the short list, but there's no way it's beating Shallow. The Place Where Lost Things Go made me cry when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
Having a parent that's passed, it was emotional, and I connected with it, and I loved the song a lot.
Understandable.
I don't like the Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah.
the Black Panther song I'm not into. I get that everybody... And actually, that's the one I think it might be the dark horse. I mean, I know we haven't gotten to Alexis's pick yet, but I think All the Stars, if anything really surprises anyone, it'll be that.
It'll be if All the Stars wins.
People love that song. I can't believe it was nominated.
Wow.
Ooh.
Over a bunch of other things. I think there was a lot of great music. The Hate You Give song was really, really good. This place called Slaughter Race I thought was really good. Didn't get nominated. I thought the song from Revelation from Boy Erased should have been nominated maybe. Treasure from the Timothée Chalamet movie that's just escaping my
Beautiful Roy.
Beautiful Boy. Private War with Annie Lennox's song that she did is like a 6-minute song that she did for Private War. There's just so much good music. I was so surprised to see the Kendrick. This feels more than any other nomination feels like a popularity nominee to me than anything else.
It very often is when it comes to original song.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's yes, I understand what you're saying. When I look at the songs that are nominated here, it's like all those songs, like maybe with the exception of When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings, they all have like a really deep meaning for the film. All the Stars is like a pop end credits song that doesn't really, I don't think, connects to the film in a way that these others do. That's just my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Alexis clearly disagrees with me. I can see it in her face.
All right.
Let's get to Alexis's picks for this because I want to hear it. Because she's a singer.
I really did like All the Stars.
Okay. Everybody does.
It wasn't my pick.
Yeah. Oh.
But I loved that, like, all the music that he did for that film.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and it's commonly underrepresented.
This song?
His style.
Oh, okay.
Is underrepresented.
You mean in the Oscars? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Among nominees, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I will point out that like songs like
3 6 Mafia.
Yeah, that they've won Oscars. So.
Yeah. I like that it's being recognized.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember I'll Fight. So
It's a good song.
The Place Where Lost Things Go was a good song. It didn't stick out to me.
You know what hurt that song for me? When the kids sing it.
Oh.
I love when she sings it to them because it feels more meaningful, but when the kids do it, it just didn't quite... I don't know, there's something...
Like they shouldn't have sung it.
Or how they did it or where they did it. The timing wasn't quite right or something. It just didn't ring true in that moment. That's what hurts that song for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wasn't too taken by When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings. I do think and want Shallow to win because I think it was incredibly put together. And the fact that there were 4 songwriters.
No.
Which, it's great that it wasn't like 12.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't take that many people to write a song.
Right.
Like, something is wrong if you need so many people. I'm not going to name names. But if you need more than 4 people to write a song, there's something wrong. And I just think that it was beautifully composed and... I just thought it was beautiful.
I think, we talked about, like, popularity and stuff, and I think it'd be really easy to kind of write Shallow off as, like, oh, it's the most popular song. It's probably the most popular song because it's so affecting.
Yeah.
And in the film, I mean, there's a reason that they, like, feature it in the trailer because they know how powerful that song is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
Because it has a message.
It has a message, and it means something for the characters, right? Yeah. Like, it's so integral to what their relationship becomes and the meaning of the end of the film. I don't know. It just... Yeah.
Understandable.
All right. Moving on. Writing adapted. That's on the right, bottom right, are the screenplay categories on our ballots. Steve, you get to go first.
I think Black Klansman will win and should win.
Great.
Keeping it simple.
Okay.
I enjoyed Can You Ever Forgive Me very much, but it's kind of a... is it a story that totally needs to be told? But Black Klansman Very necessary movie. Should win. Will win.
Okay, I'm next. I also picked Black Klansman for will win, should win.
Rock and roll.
I a little part of me wanted Buster Scruggs, and Alexis didn't really like the movie, but
That's okay.
the reason I didn't pick it is because I don't think it's writing-wise cohesive enough, which is a very Coen Brothers kind of thing anyways. Like, I got what was going on across, like, what the thread was that connected all of these things.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not obvious. And not that it has to be obvious, but I feel like it should be a little stronger.
Yeah.
Rather than implied at the end. But
Glass.
yeah, okay. Well, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it's implied at the end. It's not
Yeah.
really. It's not really something that. I don't know. I wanted more out of the writing in that, but
Yeah.
and as much as I love Barry Jenkins, he's sort of my hero right now. Yeah, Black Klansman. I think it was. They just nailed the writing on that.
Yeah.
Alexis.
I love Black Klansman. I thought that it was incredibly told. The story was. I was not expecting it, actually. I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I didn't.
Oh, wow.
I just kind of went into it. I'm like, oh, I got my screeners.
Yeah.
Let's watch this. I had a friend come over, and like the whole time we're just like staring at the screen and then looking at each other. That being said, I did not choose it,
Okay.
Oh.
and I feel weird about not choosing it.
Because we both chose it.
I guess that's probably why.
Yeah, you be you.
I want Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Oh.
Okay.
Because even though it's a basic story, sometimes we need a basic story.
Not even that it's basic. I think it's a really it's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful story. But it's sort of like, it's the story of this one person effing up, getting into
Right.
trouble.
It's like immortalizing, this is a gross overstatement, but
Okay.
it's like immortalizing a serial killer.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what they want, is the attention, and
Right.
she wanted the attention.
Right.
But, we make movies about male serial killers.
Yeah, very
Let's
true.
talk about this woman who did something
Sure.
Yeah,
that
she,
wasn't that great.
she committed a pretty weak crime, and she got in big, big trouble for it.
Yes.
And it's a fun story. It's beautifully done. But it's like, in terms of the whole world, it's just not as important as Black Klansman.
Right. A Star is Born, I didn't really like the story.
That's okay.
Um,
But you think it's going to win?
nope.
No.
I'm throwing you off.
All right.
I chose If Beale Street Could Talk
Oh, yeah.
All right.
to win.
To win, but not your want.
That's not what I want.
Okay. What did you say your want was? Did you say?
Yeah.
Buster Scruggs.
Can you
I'm
ever
just
forgive
joking.
me? Ha ha! Yes.
Yeah, you did say that. Okay.
All right. All right.
Do you want to talk about Beale Street Could Talk, or do you want to just leave? No, you're good.
No.
All right. Original screenplay. And Alexis, you get to go again.
Okay.
She seems really excited.
This was tough. Because I was totally taken by surprise by Vice. I honestly, I don't know what was going on in my brain. I didn't expect it to be a comedy, which is really silly. I was just like, cool, let's watch this. And I'm like, what the? Okay. And then like halfway, have you seen Vice?
I haven't.
Okay. Halfway through, there's like a surprise, or like maybe half an hour in.
Trying to think of what that surprise is.
I just remember.
What?
I'll tell you later.
Mouth it one more
Yeah.
time.
After the podcast meeting.
And so I thought that was really great. That was not my choice. Roma, cool, also not my choice. I don't know what First Reformed is. Unfortunately. It was a really tough one for Green Book and The Favorite for me, because being an Italian American, I appreciated a lot of the Italian undertones that are thrown in that, like, I don't know, maybe a regular non-Italian won't get, but like, have you seen it?
What, Green Book?
Green Book.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of just things that are very Italian about it, which, like, I liked seeing that didn't involve mafia.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, Like, not everyone that's Italian is in the mafia.
Yeah.
You know?
Although, in fairness, he kind of was.
Right. He was a satellite.
He wasn't working in the mafia during the film we saw, but
right.
He was even approached by dudes to work.
Yeah, he was connected, but he wasn't made. He wasn't strictly making.
Hey, that's not what it was about.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. But I appreciated it. So that was like a tough one for me. However, I want and chose the favorite.
Okay.
Because I thought it was very unique.
All right. Steve.
Well, I'll mention Green Book real quick.
Okay.
Because I made the mistake of watching Green Book and then I think maybe on the same day watching Jersey Boys. And so I think I'm getting those movies mixed up in my head a lot.
One of those is very good and one of those is not.
But they're also extremely similar in terms of when the story takes place, the kind of stuff that's going on. So I think I'm mixing those two up in my head a good bit. Like when Vigo goes back in time and punches the real life Frankie Valli in the face. And he says, "Walk like a man, Frankie." Like, that was a pretty incredible moment. But that might not have happened at all in the movie or real life. I'm pretty sure Viggo Mortensen hasn't traveled in time yet. I think Vice will win. I think First Reformed should win. Mostly just because that subject matter really needs to be getting talked about more, needs to be getting exposed more, needs to be way more at the forefront. I haven't even seen First Reformed, but I've heard so many good things about it.
We'll talk about it in a second here.
And I love Ethan Hawke, and I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only spot where it shows up in the nominees.
That's correct.
So I really want it to get something to help bolster its signal. But Vice probably will win.
I picked the favorite to win.
Ah.
I think, yeah. I think that's just like a special team that put together that film.
All right.
And I don't know. I think they've got the juice. I think had the ballots been due a month earlier or 2 or 3 weeks earlier, Green Book would have won.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people were turned off by the racist Twitter remarks that were dug up by the writer. So
of Green Book.
Uh-huh.
I haven't even heard about these.
Yeah, the son that wrote the screenplay had some anti-Muslim things in his Twitter. And I think that's going to prevent it from winning.
Wow.
Kind of prevents me a little bit from liking it a little bit. I did really like the film. I think the performances are great. The music is great. I like the message of the film. I just don't like the idea that the message of the film is undercut by the very thing that the film's trying to fight.
Right.
So I picked the favorite. I want First Reformed to win.
Yeah.
I love First Reformed. It's so like subtle and simple. It's a simple way to talk about a really complicated thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I mean, you were talking about like.
I've only got a rough idea of what it's about. So if you'd like to explain what it's about, that would probably give the listener a more accurate idea.
So the movie is about a priest who sort of runs the First Reformed Church, which is this very, very old church in New York. I think the whole thing was shot in Brooklyn and Queens. It does not feel like a New York kind of thing.
Yeah.
It does not feel like New York. And the church is having its like big anniversary coming up, but it's like a small church. It's underfunded. It's got a very, very small congregation. When they show him doing sermons, there's like 6 people in the pews,
wow.
and it's a very, very small space as well. And Cedric the Entertainer, although he's credited as his actual last name, but I don't remember what it is. He's in it, and he's very good, but basically he gets asked by Amanda Seyfried's character to come and speak to her husband. Mm-hmm. She's pregnant, and she seems to want to have the child, and the husband doesn't want to because he doesn't want to bring the kid into this world.
Yeah.
And so he goes to talk to him and finds out that he's had been previously arrested and in prison in Canada, I think, and was released on compassionate release because his wife got pregnant or was pregnant, and come to find that he's like an eco advocate, like more not quite Greenpeace, something beyond Greenpeace. And over the course of the film, you quickly find out that one day, not to give too much away, Amanda Seyfried's character calls the priest to come to the house. He comes right away, and they find a suicide vest in the house.
Whoa.
And so he takes the suicide vest away. But the movie is about the priest's internal struggle with depression and what it is he wants in life, what he thinks he's supposed to be doing, and what is the right thing, question mark, like, are eco-terrorists right? Like, the world is going to end, and it's going to end probably, at least in the view of this film, it's probably going to end from man-made reasons, probably in real life too. And
come on, meteor.
So what would you do to be able to try and save the world? What would you be willing to do? So it kind of touches on all these things, but it's so like quiet, and internalized. And throughout the film, he's writing a diary.
Right.
He's doing it sort of as an experiment, and he's like at the very beginning of the film, he's like, when I get done doing this, I'm going to burn this. I don't want there to be any evidence. I'm doing this that's like his new way of praying, essentially, is writing in this diary and putting his thoughts down. Man, it's great, and it's a little intense.
Yeah.
And really interesting ending. An ending to talk about.
Radical.
I need to watch that.
So you think First Reform should,
but it won't. I think The Favorite will.
and The Favorite will. Interesting. All
You
right.
can watch First Reformed on Amazon Prime.
Cool. Very cool.
Alexis making notes. Okay, moving on. Okay, so next up we have cinematography. Steve, take it away.
Cinematography. There it is. Left column.
Mm-hmm.
I think Roma will win. And I put a want to win behind Roma as well.
Nice.
I still haven't watched it because I'm so afraid of falling asleep because it's in black and white.
You have that
But I've
problem.
just heard so many good things about the way that movie is shot that I'm just going to go ahead and...
It's also not a fast-paced film,
No.
but it's great.
And I'm fairly good with slow-paced films, you know. I've watched Mandy 6 times. But me and Roma... It's gonna take the middle of the day and a pot of coffee.
You realize you mislead our listeners on a nonstop basis.
Really?
Yeah. So now people are going to think Mandy is slow. And now they're not going to watch it because you said it's slow.
Everybody I've shown Mandy to says that it's slow.
Really?
But it's totally worth it.
Okay.
The patience that you have to put yourself through to get to the end of Mandy is then rewarded like you wouldn't even believe.
Okay.
I call that the cherry on top.
I picked Roma to win, Roma want to win. I will not be surprised if Cold War sneaks in. But just the work that went into Roma and the fact that Alfonso Cuarón, I think a little part of me wants him to win because, well, we'll get to that later.
All right.
I like the look and the work they did on at least what I've seen of The Favorite. I have not seen Never Look Away. I really liked a lot of A Star Is Born, but I didn't find it consistent. There were moments where I was just like blown away with how they shot that film. At the very beginning of the film, when she's in the bathroom and she's like screaming, I was just like, this is one of my favorite shots I've seen this year.
Whoa.
But the rest of the film, like, sometimes it's awesome. Like when they're doing sunset singing on stage and just the light hits them just right. I mean, it's patience. It's a lot of work to make that look the way it does.
Yeah.
I think also having to shoot any type of concert footage and make it look not like concert footage, make it look like a movie, is really difficult, especially the fact that they shot so much of that, or not so much, but a bunch of the concert stuff at actual concert venues in between acts, and they only had 15 minutes to do it. So
That's cool.
Or I don't know if it was really 15 minutes, but they had a very short period of time to shoot their sequences. So a lot of respect. I kind of want, I want Star is Born to have some notoriety for that, but man, Roma, it's so pretty. It's so good. It's so natural. Doesn't hurt that it's 4K. But Netflix makes all of their, in order to do a Netflix TV show or film, it has to be shot in 4K.
Yeah.
So Roma, my pick for both.
Nice.
All right.
So I did not choose A Star is Born.
Okay. Weird way to start that, but okay.
I like working backwards.
Okay.
Because I thought it was lovely. I just wasn't stricken by its cinematography.
Yeah.
All right.
Never Look Away looks beautiful.
Yeah.
However, it just didn't. It has like a very time. What's that word? I'm trying to think. It's very Period specific. Yeah. Which I enjoy.
Unique angles too. They utilize really interesting angles in the film.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was lovely. Also not my choice. The favorite was super weird. Like I love it, and I love that. Yorgo Lanthimos?
Yeah.
As a director, I don't think he was a cinematographer.
No.
Yorgo.
Because there were some really interesting choices that were made.
Sure.
Like, even though I love that movie, there was an aspect where I didn't understand why they suddenly chose to use a different lens.
I don't know without seeing it.
And I know it's supposed to be absurd anyway, but that was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Both Roma and Cold War are black and white. However, I find Cold War to be more stunning.
It's really beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cold War is more grayscale than Roma.
There's a really hard fall off. So like anything that's in the shadow is dark.
Yeah.
It's very it's almost noir.
Yes.
In its look.
Yeah, and I think that like pulls more at my heartstrings.
Sure.
So I chose that as want to and will win Cold War.
And it lends. I think what like really helps Cold War is that that style lends itself to the time period.
Yes.
I think like I've talked a little bit about like does something actually connect to the film that you're watching in like a really like meaningful way, and I think the cinematography in Cold War really does do that.
Cool.
It puts you in that.
I will not be the least bit surprised if Cold War wins.
Yeah.
If Cold War or Roma doesn't win, if one of those other films wins, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
But it's a good pick. So that was your pick for both. You think it should and you want it to.
Correct.
Cool.
Excellent.
Okay. I want to say something about something in Star is Born.
Yeah.
There's a few things that they did in there, and they're more on the director side of things, which is what's interesting that the cinematography got nominated, but Bradley Cooper didn't. Not that I think necessarily Bradley Cooper should have been nominated, but those two things, it's weird. He did some really interesting things, like we've all seen the movie, right?
I haven't.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Star is Born?
I'm familiar enough with the story. I mean, it's a triple remake.
Okay, I'm not gonna. No, it's different.
I'll plug my ears.
No, it's fine. I can.
What do you say?
I can. Put your hands down. Put your hands down. He's being.
Stop waving at my arms.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So there's a moment, almost at the beginning of the film, that's like foreshadows the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And it's such a like strategic, beautiful placement of this thing. When you talk about composition, which is like the meaningful placement of a subject in a frame, that's the definition, right? So like meaningful is the key word, and Bradley Cooper and the cinematographer, but Bradley Cooper found a way to like do that consistently through the film, and it starts really early on. So I thought it was interesting that cinematography got nominated, but he didn't. When I think he probably had a stronger hand in what we were seeing foreshadowing wise.
Yeah, wild. See if I can see it. Maybe I can see it tomorrow.
It's worth seeing. It's like fun and it's romantic and it's beautiful and it's got ups and downs.
I've heard pretty much only good things. I just keep not getting around to it. I've been going to too many older movies is my problem with this year.
I don't walk out of a movie and download an entire soundtrack hardly ever anymore. Yeah. And that was when I immediately like downloaded the entire thing on Spotify.
Oh yeah, the movie was
cool.
The music was incredible.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. There were 2 movies last year that I did that with. Spider-Verse, which we listened to much last night, and Star is Born. Okay, moving on. Supporting actress.
Whoa, we're here already?
I am first on this one.
Actress in a supporting role.
I picked and want Regina King to win. I love Regina King so freaking much. She's so talented. It's her time. It's her time. I love all of these people. But man, is it Regina King's time. Yeah, that's all I have to say. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. Alexis.
Yes. I love all of these people as well. I want Rachel Weisz to win.
Oh.
Because I love...
I knew it.
I'm just like kind of partial to her. But not that I don't want Regina King to win, but I think she will win. I think Regina King will win.
But you want Rachel Weisz to win?
Yes.
Okay. Steve?
I want Regina King to win, much like you said, Wes. I think it's her time. She's been giving us great performances for quite a while now. Yeah. I think Amy Adams will win. Just seems to be what she does.
Yeah.
The lady wins awards. She's pretty much... I've never seen her win for not deserving an award, and she was pretty damn great in Vice. Want Regina King. I think Amy Adams has got it on lockdown.
I'm going to throw this out there. Historically, Academy voters for supporting... And things are changing. Yeah. Historically, supporting winners tend to be actors who've put in a ton of work and not really been recognized before.
Good point.
I will be fairly surprised if it's a big name like a Rachel Weisz or Weisz.
See, though, but she should win because she got robbed for The Mummy all those years ago.
right?
You know,
but Rachel Weisz has she won an actress award or no?
I really don't know. I'll let Alexis look it up. If anything, maybe Constant Gardner.
But Amy Adams has, right? And Emma Stone has.
Yeah.
I think Marina de Tavira, she from Roma, she's too new, so I don't think she'll. I don't think
crazier things have happened.
You're right. I'd be real surprised though. Now I said that I don't think that rule is going to apply to supporting actor this year, but
it's good to point out.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's good to point out.
But you know they're starting to break some of those stereotypes with Oscar voting. You know, the most common occupation for a best actress character to have is waitress. I think that's starting to change.
Wow.
You know, I think that was like the most palatable thing for viewers to like understand working women as waitresses, but they had a hard time understanding them as like CEOs or you know, people in power. And then I think stuff like that's starting to change.
Do you want to know how I'm going to know ahead of time who's actually going to win actress in a supporting role?
Who's that? You looked at the...
I'm going to go to Target the day before the Oscars.
Yeah.
And whatever actress I see that's nominated shopping at my Target, she's going to win.
Yeah, has that happened in the past?
It happened with Viola Davis. It's going to happen again.
I'd lose my mind if I saw Viola Davis in public.
I saw her coming out of Target the day before the Oscars, and I was like... I love Viola Davis. I'm not going to crowd her, but that's cool. Tomorrow's are the Oscars, and here she is out just having a shop.
I'm like a fanboy for Viola Davis. I don't know why. I think she's so fucking talented.
Yeah.
She's just like, she's smart. She's passionate. She seems like a decent human being. She loves her family, and she's So talented.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's stupid how talented she is.
Nothing wrong with being a fan of such a person.
I almost feel like there's no reason anybody should be that talented.
I know.
Mm.
It's unfair for the rest of us.
Rachel Weisz has only won for The Constant Gardener.
That's what I thought. So Constant Gardener.
That movie.
We got La La Land. So, and like I said, I think Marina de Tavira is too new. So that, to me, leaves me with... Besides the fact that I think it's her time. And,
Yeah.
you know, clearly she's been winning other awards for it anyway, so...
Yeah. Regina King.
Woo.
All right, supporting actor.
Did we get Alexis's?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the middle one. She said
Okay.
Rachel Weisz.
But
yes.
Regina King will win.
But Regina King will win.
All
She
right.
wants Rachel Weisz.
All right.
Actor.
two Rs.
Supporting actor. Alexis, you get to go first.
This was so hard.
Interesting.
It really was a challenge for me because I've seen every single film, and I loved so many of them. I don't think Sam Rockwell will win, and I don't really want him to. And like he won last year, you know. Give
But see,
someone
that's
else a
another
chance.
example of like a dude who's like put in a lot of work,
Yeah.
and like been kind of not really given his due, and then all of a sudden, bam, they give him
Right.
an award.
And I think last year
He won Best
his award,
Actor, right?
supporting
Supporting.
actor.
Oh, it was also
Because it was,
supporting?
an ensemble
3
cast.
billboards.
Yeah, okay.
I
thought
think
he won Best.
that was well deserved. This one, I don't think over the others should happen.
Sure.
Adam Driver did a great job. I don't think that this was like the one.
It's great, but it doesn't blow you away, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a dude.
Yep.
I love Adam Driver, but that is just not my choice. It was really hard to choose between Richard Grant. I think he is fantastic, and I mean, I love him in everything I've seen him in.
He's adorable.
He's so charming and like kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So that was like I put a little heart next to his name because it's not what I chose, but I
Yeah.
still am enamored. I thought Sam Elliott was fantastic in A Star Is Born. Wonderful, like deep character, deep role. Had so many levels to it.
You believe him when he's like puts his kind of like cards out on the table. You like really believe what he's saying.
Yes. However, I want and think that Mahershala Ali will win for Green Book.
Ah, he gets both your votes.
He does.
All right.
Steve,
I like
you're
it.
next.
I think Mahershala Ali will win. He won for Moonlight, did he not?
He did.
And that was supporting.
Supporting.
I think he's probably going to win for Green Book. I think Adam Driver should win.
Interesting. I like that though.
I have very little reasoning for either of my choices. Those are just the predictions I'm going with. I think Driver should. I think Ali will. Oddly enough, Ali is nominated for a movie where he hires a driver. So there's that. Just throwing that weird coincidence out there.
I chose and believe Mahershala Ali will win. That's what I was saying. It sort of breaks. So like 2 years ago, he was that guy who was in a lot of small things and put in a lot of work and didn't really get his due, and then they gave him the award. I think this year, I think he's going to also win again. I think Sam Elliott was so good.
It really was.
I think what prevents Sam Elliott in my mind from getting the award is he wasn't in the movie enough. I think if he'd been featured a little bit more, I think it'd be easier to like. But if anybody was going to surprise me, I feel like it would be Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Although I think people really like Richard E. Grant right now because he's so adorable and like the whole Barbra Streisand story and like, did you see that whole thing?
I didn't.
So when he was like younger, he sent Barbra Streisand a fan letter and she just discovered it like and wrote him back.
Oh my god.
Like when she was like, "We loved your movie, congratulations," blah blah blah.
Wow.
And he was like super adorable about it. And his response to like finding out he was nominated is so
that
adorable.
was so charming.
Yeah, he's great.
Also, Richard E. Grant, frankly, kind of should win after his work in Warlock back in the early 90s. But I get it. They've
Sometimes
snubbed
I'm
it.
just like, what is wrong with
They've
you?
snubbed him for 20-some years. I do like the idea of Sam Elliott winning and then the commercials being able to say, and starring Oscar winner Sam Elliott, the man who killed Adolf Hitler.
I know, I can't wait for that.
And then the Bigfoot.
I can't wait for that.
I'm going to watch the hell
Have
out
you
of
not
that
seen that?
movie.
No.
He's got a movie coming out called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
It's going to be so awesome.
And then the Bigfoot.
And then the Bigfoot.
You know, what a Bigfoot, like a Sasquatch?
Like he's the guy who killed Hitler, and then they ask him to go kill Bigfoot.
It looks awesome.
It's going to be so great.
Weird.
Oh, I'm going to watch that so many
Yeah,
times.
it looks like a lot of fun. Okay, moving on to actor.
Is this our last category?
No,
No.
we're
Still
still
got to
more.
get to director. Okay.
An actress and
An actress.
Geez, Steve, sexist.
Look, I live in the future, all right?
Steve,
Yes.
I picked you to start this because I thought you would most be appropriate to say what you're about to say.
Oh, how could you ever possibly predict what I'm about to say about this category, Wes?
Go ahead, Steve.
You act like we've been friends for years, and you know exactly what I'm about to bring up, and that's the fact that I want Bohemian Rhapsody's Rami Malek to win.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he did an absolutely wonderful job of being a very likable, very funny Freddie Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Did a great job of singing and or lip syncing whenever he had to. And I just love the dude. I've loved him since the first thing I saw him in, which was probably, and this is going to sound crazy, Need for Speed. I don't think it was the very first thing I saw him in, but it was the first thing I watched where I remember thinking, like, who is this guy? I like what he's doing.
Night at the Museum.
The rest of the movie was Need for Speed, but, you know, yeah, Night at the Museum when he was the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
I heard a funny interview where somebody was like, you know, blah, 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 and how'd you get... And he's like, really, I think I was Egyptian, and so they cast me to play the Pharaoh. And I thought that was a funny answer.
That's right, he takes his clothes off in Need for Speed.
Yeah, when he quits his job, he
Yeah.
walks out of the office naked just to make sure he can never get hired again. And I thought that was hilarious. But I think he should win, and I think Rami Malek will win. And keep your ears open for Blackout, starring Rami Malek.
And
Groundbreaking new podcast coming soon.
featuring.
Co-starring Steve Moulton.
There you go.
What happened? Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Erase that part. Dwayne, erase that.
No, don't do it, Dwayne. Okay, so next I picked Rami Malek to win. I want
Cool.
Rami Malek to win.
Yeah.
I just thought, I can't think of a better performance. These guys are great, but man, Rami Malek was so good.
Yeah.
I've heard some criticism. People are like, "Oh, you're just doing an impersonation," and I think I used to feel that way. Like when Jamie Foxx won for Ray, I was kind of like, I think maybe because I'd seen Jamie Foxx do Ray so much, like on In Living Color and stuff.
True.
But there's something to be said. Like, you can't discount somebody because they're able to look like someone. He still gave an amazing performance,
Right.
And I wish the movie had been more true. I'd feel even more strongly about it if the movie had been more true, and they'd given him a little bit more to work with. But knowing that they didn't, incredible performance. Alexis, you go.
I loved Rami Malek. That's who I want to win.
Yes.
I was first introduced to him on the Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
He was in I just forgot. He was in the church group.
Yeah. I never watched. Apparently,
it
I
was-
gotta watch Gilmore Girls.
It's such a good show. And he was like little Rami Malek. Like,
Aw,
I think teenage Rami Malek.
little Rami.
And no, I think that he embodied the character. I think he did a fantastic job because it's really hard to tell the story about a person's life and be able to walk and talk like them. Like there wasn't a moment. Yes, I knew that it was Rami Malek, but there wasn't a moment where I was like, "Oh, what's Rami Malek doing right now?"
Right.
I was thinking
Yeah.
more of the character.
But
I really don't like talking badly about actors,
oh no,
but I did not like Bradley Cooper.
Oh.
You didn't like him in the movie? Oh, I found him very moving.
There was a scene where he was supposed to be sobbing and his eyes weren't even wet.
Oh.
That
The one when he's like apologizing. I like that scene a lot.
I was pulled out of it.
Hang on, there's an apology in this movie? I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
It's a great scene. I like the scene a lot. It's interesting because that's the scene that they've been promoting for the Oscars.
I know. And I want
to go back and watch and look for that now.
It just wasn't my favorite. He did a lot of work. I think he did a great job. It just wasn't my favorite character.
Let's talk about this off podcast sometime.
Okay.
I think this is an interesting... I have questions, but I don't think it's... Steve hasn't seen the movie, and I don't think we need to get into it right now.
Steve.
However, I think that Christian Bale will win.
Oh, interesting.
I do.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he will.
So you want Rami Malek to win. You think Christian Bale is going to win.
Yes.
I wouldn't be terribly surprised just because of like all the work Christian Bale puts in. I think people like to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't he have 2 wins? The fighter?
He's a fighter. And
I believe he has 1 more.
Did he win for American Psycho?
No, but he won for something
surprising.
more recent. And I'm hard-pressed to think of anybody that has 3.
Was it Big Short? He didn't win for Big Short.
He might have.
He might have won for Big Short. Okay. It would have been a supporting actor.
Yeah, but I'm hard-pressed to think of anybody that's got... Any actor that's got 3 Oscars.
Any living actor that has 3 Oscars? How many does Anthony Hopkins have? 1?
48,
2?
but he's a clone.
Okay. You say so. Okay. Moving on. Best Actress. Apparently I'm starting this one.
Oh.
I hadn't seen some of these movies. But I picked and want Glenn Close to win. I love Glenn Close. I've always loved Glenn Close. I feel like she has almost like an unlikely story. A little part of me wants Olivia Colman to win just because I like Olivia Colman. And the few things I've seen from The Favorite, she looks incredible. I just like Glenn Close. So ultimately, I really liked the girl in Roma. I thought she was excellent. Knowing some of the things, like how she went through that, like she didn't know about things that were going to happen until they were shooting them.
Oh wow!
Did you see the movie?
Wasn't this her first film? Her first acting?
Maybe, I don't know. You saw it though, right?
I saw parts of it. I wasn't able to see all of
Oh. So there's a really great scene. So she worked with the actual woman that the movie's based on.
Oh wow!
And like talked to her and like got information and stuff, but she really kind of only got that stuff as they were about to film it.
Wow.
And there's a really like emotional, very impactful scene in the film, which I won't say what it is. She did not know what was going to happen in the scene until they were shooting the scene.
Wow.
She found out in scene.
Holy moly!
And apparently it like really affected her as an actress. Like it affected her after the fact.
Yeah. This is the only thing she's done.
Wow!
Yeah, well, yeah, she's really great.
Incredible.
I do not want. This is mean. I don't know. I shouldn't say this. I don't want Lady Gaga to win.
Oh.
I just am like. I feel like she's kind of. I don't know. I don't want to say she's full of herself, but like. She doesn't seem genuine to me. She doesn't seem. She did a fine job in the movie, I guess. I like the movie a lot. There's so much I love about the movie. But like, this is about not just the performance, but recognizing like the work that people put into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she just doesn't seem genuine about anything she says off, behind the scenes and interviews and stuff. So I just can't root for her. And I didn't see the Melissa McCarthy movie.
I would say it's very good.
Look, some of us don't get screeners like you guys. I like the pecs.
I don't get many screeners.
I share.
I try not.
Well, somebody told me that they were gonna. Somebody told me that they were gonna let me watch it. I didn't put out a call to other people because I was told that. And it's not their fault. It's circumstances happened that prevented us from being able to do that. But
I understand.
It is what it is. Okay, Alexis.
And
then you.
I was hoping
torn.
that Orr would stop.
I was torn between 2 wants.
Yeah.
Holding for La Cucaracha.
So you think that's telling us that you're going to say Roma.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the views and opinions expressed by Weizenhofer do not necessarily reflect those.
Look, I live in a largely Hispanic neighborhood, and the fact that La Cucaracha just played outside, and somebody who is in a movie that takes place in Mexico, I mean, that's kind of funny.
Take a step back from that whole statement.
I was torn between wanting Melissa McCarthy and Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy did a really fantastic job. I am a very big fan of hers, and have also watched her since she was on Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls! Whoa!
Can I ask a question? Does she fall down in any comedic way in this film?
No.
I don't think
God.
so.
No, it's a serious film.
No, I know. It's just I have this thing about
Slapstick?
not slapstick, just
Rat
like
balls?
that. They just fall on that on Melissa McCarthy and everything she's in. They make her fall down they find a way to make her fall down because they think it's humorous, and I just like it's funny once or twice, but it's not funny every movie.
Yeah. No, this
Look at you, Sandra Bullock.
Ooh, all about Steve.
No, I think she did a really wonderful job embodying the character.
Yeah.
And really staying true. I've not seen her perform like that.
It's great.
It's nice to see her as a straight character.
Right.
Did you see St. Vincent
No.
with Bill Murray?
No.
I did see that.
She's really good in that too. They're both good in that.
Oh, okay. I need to see that.
It's not as big a role though. It's a more like she's like a mom. Like she's playing a more like kind of normal everyday person.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with the musician St. Vincent.
Okay.
Or the saint
No.
St. Vincent.
Well.
I love
all right.
St. Vincent,
Well, a little
the
bit.
performer.
Yeah, she's great.
I also really love Olivia Colman. I thought she did a really fantastic job in The Favorite as such a like boisterous like adult child.
Kind of a bipolar performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like
In a great
split
way.
second. It was so like one of my favorite parts in that from her was when there was some like child guard whatever.
It's in the trailer.
And she's like, yeah. She's like, did you just look at me? And he's like, no. And then she's like, look at me. How dare you? I love that so much. She definitely got to play in that. So I loved that. However, I believe that Glenn Close will win for the wife.
So wait, which was your want?
I was torn.
No, you had to pick one.
Okay.
I can't give you, or you get no points at all for the want.
Fine. Olivia Colman.
Okay.
Olivia Colman wants.
Make sure you have both things picked for every category.
I do.
Because I can't score you if there is no thing picked.
I'll just put a heart next to Melissa McCarthy. There we go.
All right, last two guys.
Hey, I didn't get to name my actresses.
You didn't? Oh, sorry, Steve.
Jiminy.
Go ahead, Steve. What you got for us?
I think Lady Gaga is going to win.
Oh, I'm so surprised.
She's a superstar. I think most of the voting body is probably just going to be like, I know who she is. Vote.
But how can she win if 99 people don't believe in her and only one of them does? She'll only get one vote.
That's funny. I know what that is in reference to. I understood that reference.
Yeah.
I like it. But no, I think she's going to win. She's a super mega star. I think lots and lots of people want to see her accept an Oscar. I didn't mark it. I think there's a really good chance that Yalitza Aparicio will win. She's not my should, but
That's interesting.
I think she stands a good chance, mostly because of how sick Hollywood is, and they like to put a young girl way up on a pedestal for gross reasons.
She's not that young.
How young is she?
She's 20s or 30s?
Oh, she looks 13.
Oh, I think she's in her 20s or something.
Well, then maybe she won't win. But
She
I
was born
think
in 93.
the creep factor in
Weirdo.
I think the creep factor that exists in Hollywood might equal a win for her. My should is Melissa McCarthy. I almost called her Alyssa McCarthy just now. I think Melissa McCarthy should win. I would love it if she won. I think Lady Gaga will win, and though it scores me absolutely no points at all, the girl from Roma just might win. I mean, what? Tatum O'Neal?
Oh.
Anna Paquin?
She's not young like that, though.
Little girl.
But she's young and never heard of enough that there's a chance
How old is Lady
she
Gaga?
might win. Lady Gaga
She's
is
like 30,
33,
okay.
31.
32?
I don't know.
You're a weirdo.
I'm not a weirdo. I'm aware of the weirdos that exist in Hollywood and all the weirdo creeps, all the old weird creeps who get to vote for the Oscars.
Okay.
I'm
Watch that movie and then
putting
we'll
it out
have this
there.
conversation again. Okay.
putting it out there.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Best Director. Alexis, you go first.
I want Yorgos Lanthimos to win for The Favorite.
Okay. Just because you love the movie and you thought he did a good job, and
Yes.
anything particularly stand out directing wise that.
Gosh.
Ooh, hi Steve. I just touched Steve's foot.
Y'all playing footsie over there?
Yeah,
Little
sometimes.
bit.
Aw. I think that I don't know. I like his directing style.
It's okay to like not have a way to verbalize it too. I mean,
I can't verbalize
That's
it.
okay.
It's because he just doesn't. Can we swear?
yeah, of course.
He just
yeah.
doesn't
Fuck
give
yeah.
a fuck.
Yeah.
And like, and he likes to be weird for the sake of being weird, and sometimes that's too much for me. But I was like, he went there with this, and
Yeah.
also there are a few sex scenes that aren't grotesque, and I
okay.
feel that sex between women, when it's directed by a man, can be very overtly sexualized.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And this wasn't.
Cool.
And I appreciated that.
Can I address something you said?
Yes.
You said something about like sometimes you have like weird for the sake of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever does that.
No.
I don't think in any of his stuff he ever does that. I think he always has a reason for why he does weird. I think there's always a subtext. Maybe we don't always understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something we can't understand it unless you listen to an interview with him or a commentary or something. But I don't. He does not strike me as the type of director who does. Coen Brothers, yes.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't think he does weird for the sake of weird. I think he always has a reason.
Okay. I can see that because it's not like who did Isle of Dogs?
Wes Anderson, yeah.
I think he does
Absolutely.
do weird for the
Yeah.
sake
Why?
of
It's
being
why
weird.
I have a problem with Wes Anderson and the Coen Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like weird for the sake of weird. I want there to be a reason behind it.
Yeah, because I mean, I loved The Lobster,
Yeah.
which is just so like different from everything else. So, and I felt like The Favorite was very different.
Sure.
I liked it. I thought Black Klansman was great. However, the ending just kind of. I remember. Did you see Black Klansman?
Yeah.
And you saw Black Klansman? At the end, when they show the excerpts from what happened the year before
Yeah.
last,
Sure.
that was an interesting choice.
I don't think so.
You think it wasn't an interesting
I mean,
choice?
I don't think it was. I think it was obvious. I thought it was an obvious choice.
All right.
That like nothing's changed.
Well, yeah, it's like not just that nothing's changed, but like the willingness to like become open about it, which is I think like sort of the thought behind Black Klansman. Are people that were hiding, but they were starting to push themselves more in the public eye, and that cycle has reared its ugly head.
Yeah.
Yet again.
And I think that's why I thought it was an obvious choice, and I thought it was very affecting to put that in there as well.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
a reminder, like you sit through, and I think for most audiences, they don't necessarily think about that the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like to spend 2 hours in the 70s and then just be brought back to
Right.
today and reminded that this is still happening,
Yeah.
or that it's happening again, I think is a very affecting idea. But I do think it was, in my opinion, just me, kind of an obvious choice. Like that's absolutely what I would have done too.
Yeah.
I like to think.
Obvious but necessary.
It definitely. Like I love Spike Lee. I think
I have mixed feelings.
he goes there. It definitely made me feel weird as a white woman.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really understand how to feel because like
Sure.
yes, I'm angry, but what am I angry about? Am I angry about the fact that I'm white, or am I angry that all of this is happening? Is it both? How do I express that? So it definitely
I
got me.
I love that you have that feeling, because I mean I felt similarly. I felt that way about several movies this year. You know, the Michael Moore documentary left me feeling like, what now? What do I do now? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's astute observations.
Yeah.
I mean,
Vice was Vice. I felt like it was a little. I do like how we were talking earlier that it's like it like puts pieces together. Huh. It just kind of felt like a skit.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and like that was a style that's cool. Not my fave. I think Roma will win. I want the favorite to win.
Gotcha.
I think Roma will win.
Yeah. Very interesting indeed.
So we're talking about, just for what it's worth.
Yes.
Alfonso Cuarón for Roma.
Yeah. Spike
Lee for Black Klansman. Mm-hmm. Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite. Adam McKay for Vice. And Pavel Pawlowski for Cold War. So it's just one of the, because on the ballots, they put the movie titles instead of the act or the directors, which I think is weird, and I just wanted the listeners to know who we were talking about.
Yeah. Pretty weird ballot.
Steve, what you got?
I'd love it if Spike Lee could win. I'm not putting him down as my should, because I just know I'm not going to get a point there. I'd love it if I'd love it if he could, but I think there's still plenty of racism in the voting body.
Oh, yeah.
And this, I think Black Klansman isn't going to get the votes it needs to win. My should, or rather what I really do want to win, is Adam McKay's Vice. Mm-hmm. I love Adam McKay to pieces. He did, if I'm not mistaken, win for The Big Short, right? He won for that. Or did it win Best Picture? Or was it both?
I think it won Best Picture. I don't remember if he won Best Director or not. So
there is a chance that he might not win because he made a movie that is very much like a movie that already won an Oscar or two.
Well, he did Spotlight also, right? And that one...
No, did he direct Spotlight?
Did he Spotlight?
No, Spotlight would have been a lot more enjoyable.
Who was Spotlight? You're right. Spotlight probably would have been... But I mean, it's... Rick Derringer?
No, that's the guy. He was a
Why do I think Adam McKay directed Spotlight?
No.
Maybe because it was the ensemble.
Tom
McCarthy.
Why would I think Adam... You're right. It would have been probably more... But like, even if Adam McKay had that, I don't think he would make it a fun film.
No, but it would
But he might not have done it in the first place.
But it would have been easier to get through.
Right.
I mean, the most exciting moment in Spotlight, as important as that story is to be told, the most exciting moment is a guy running to his neighbor's house.
Okay.
And everything else about that movie is like, hey, we're in this office talking still, huh? But very important subject matter, absolutely needed to be made.
All right, anyway, I'm sorry, I got us on the wrong topic here.
Vice, I would love it if Vice won, just because I love Adam McKay so much, and I really do think Vice has a pretty good chance of winning, but I think what will win is Roma. Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, I think, is going to win. Having not even seen it, I've just got a feeling that's what's coming in first place.
Okay, so I also picked Roma to win. Right. I also want it to win. I think when a director makes something like super personal, I think it tends to give it a leg up over other things. Not that like Black Klansman isn't personal for Spike Lee, right. But I mean, this is Roma's from this guy's life,
right?
Yeah.
I also want it to win because I think, like I said before, I think it'll win cinematography. And it'll be the first time that a director has won cinematography and director.
Whoa!
If this happens, so it would be historic, which would be kind of cool to see. I think there's a pretty good chance that Spike Lee could pull out. I think there's a lot of people that are saying, kind of like with Regina King. I think there's a lot of people saying it's time. Mm-hmm. It's time for Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Has he not won?
No, like there's a. Do you remember like? Kim Basinger on stage at the Oscars presenting and is like, she basically pulled a Kanye and was like, do the right thing, should have won the award.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't remember that happening.
It was a big deal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think it's a good chance. I mean, it's definitely time for Spike Lee to be recognized.
Yeah.
whether this is the film. I don't know that it can beat Roma. Just because, like I said, I think it's so personal. But
wouldn't you also say that Black Klansman is personal to him, even though it's not like about his
but
life?
in a different way.
Yeah,
in a different way. I think it's the thing that he's been talking about and fighting for his entire career. You're not wrong at all. But I think that these people opened up their hearts. They like cut themselves open and like threw it on a table and like, I don't know. It's so real. Like I know that like Black Klansman's sort of like based on a real thing, but it's done in such a sensationalized way that it feels like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Roma doesn't really feel like a Hollywood movie. It feels not like a documentary, but it just feels more natural. And I think that'll be more striking to the voters. And that's why I liked it so much. There's so much to be said. There's some stuff that I would really like to talk about with Roma, but you two haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't really ruin it. But there's just some stuff in there that just like, I don't know. It's really moving and shocking, and it surprised me in a few moments. It really did. All right, last one. We've made it.
Last category.
Best Picture, Steve.
Whoa, I have to go first?
It's Steve, me, then Alexis. Alexis gets the last word. A lot of dead air.
Well,
Steve here.
I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Because I think it will win. I don't exactly think it should win. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Bohemian Rhapsody is going to win. Don't exactly think it should, but I just plain think it's going to. I'm just basing this on the fact that sometimes that which wins Best Picture really isn't the best picture of that year. But sometimes it wins. I mean, look at Ordinary People. Did Ordinary People really deserve Best Picture in 1981 or whatever? Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that which is not actually the best picture does win because of popularity. I think Vice should win. I think Bohemian Rhapsody will win.
Interesting.
There you have it. I mean, I'm literally just gambling right now. I'm watching a horse race, and I'm thinking, like,
I'm trying to think of, like,
as much as I love Bohemian Rhapsody, it's not Best Picture, but I really think it will win.
for the sake of discussion, I'm trying to think of movies that I feel like won just because they were popular.
Should Shape of Water have won Best Picture?
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was a popularity contest in Shape of Water's place.
Okay.
And I mean, I know a lot of people who genuinely thought that movie was the best picture, and I thought it. I wouldn't have picked it personally. I picked something else.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised at all because it was very deserving. I don't think it was like worse than any of those other ones.
Okay.
Like I don't think there was any other movie that deserved it more. There are movies that I liked more I guess in the terms of popularity, things I liked more, but I don't think Shape of Water was the most popular. There was a lot of people that I think thought that they borrowed or stole from other films too much.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would call that the most popular film.
Okay.
I certainly don't think it was the most popular film last year.
All right. Should Braveheart have won Best Picture?
Pretty good. What did it go up
I
against?
don't think Braveheart did win. Didn't Fargo actually win that?
Oh, I don't know. Well, that maybe.
They were neck and neck.
Like 95 or something? I don't know.
Should Lethal Weapon 4 have won Best
Lethal Weapon
Picture?
4 most definitely did not win. I mean, can you think of one that's like a popular film that won? The closest I can think of is Return of the King.
Return of the King. Right.
That's
right.
But
glad you mentioned that.
Stop. I don't know if I would consider that because it was popular, but because of, you know, like sometimes I think the Academy wants to recognize, like we talked about, like the work that was put into something, and because the other ones hadn't won,
right?
I think they were like, this is the culmination of this like epic thing this guy did to make film, and it pushed film forward in a lot of ways, and so they recognized it in that sense. So I don't know that even that was even about a popularity thing. so much as like trying to recognize what it did for pushing entertainment forward.
Yeah.
But
Understandable. Yeah, because didn't Return of the King win like 11?
it won a crazy number. It didn't sweep everything, but it won a stupid
Maybe it was
number.
nominated for 11. I have the number 11.
It was up there with
I might be
like
thinking of
Titanic
the
for
2000s.
wins, I think.
Right.
So,
Right.
I think Titanic was a popular.
but it wasn't. It didn't win because it was popular. It like what did Titanic go up against?
Starship Troopers.
Stop.
Con
In the
Air,
same year.
the prequel to Wild Things. And
Like I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say without knowing what the other films were.
Yeah.
But like, again, like technological achievement. It was a huge, massive risk that the studio didn't believe in.
right.
You know,
And then it was
an
absolute gigantic success.
I mean, think about this. Leonardo DiCaprio was not a household name at the time. Not
No.
really. His probably most popular things were Gilbert Grape, which had been years prior.
Yeah.
And
Critters 3.
maybe Romeo and Juliet. But like that was
yeah.
like a teen thing, right? Like
Yeah.
Academy. Generally, I don't think people cared about Baz Luhrmann at that time, right?
No, not really.
No.
So
Critters 3.
Critters
Say Critters 3.
yeah.
Say it out loud.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains.
Oh, yeah. Basketball Diaries.
So I mean, it's like again without knowing what
Yeah.
films, but
Whoop.
yeah. So I don't know if there's. I'm hard pressed to think of a movie that won because it was popular
All right.
in the animated category, maybe.
Yeah. Well, those are my picks. I think Bohemian Rhapsody will win. I think Vice should win. Have either of you named your picks yet?
Not yet.
No.
I want
We're talking Best Picture.
One more thing I want to bring up with the popular thing.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't think that works.
Okay.
The Academy's been talking about this last year adding a most popular category.
Oh, yeah, true.
So if the most popular things were winning, they wouldn't create that category.
Fair. Fair point.
But I don't know how they're going to judge that anyway. So they can judge that by box office dollars because then it's just who made the most money.
Right.
And then it's going to be Disney and Warner Brothers every year. Okay. I'm going next. I picked Roma for both.
Oh, could or will and want.
Should and yeah.
Should and
I want it to win and it will win.
you got it.
Yeah, I'm going to... it's also a really interesting situation where it was nominated for foreign language and
Oh, wow.
Best Picture, so it has the possibility of winning both of those. I think Roma's going to be a big winner at the Academy Awards. A little piece of me wants Black Panther. The comic book side of me wants Black Panther to win, but
That'd be incredible.
I don't think it's a better film than Roma, so I can't say I want it to really. Because I don't think it's a better film. I can't say it will. I think the Roma has just so much juice behind it. I will eat my hat if Bohemian Rhapsody wins the Best Picture.
Alexis, could you make him some kind of hat made
Sure.
of food?
I think Bohemian Rhapsody has no chance in hell of winning Best Picture. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna just go real big on that. I liked the movie a lot. I think there's too much wrong with the film. I think the Academy knows there's too much wrong with the film. The Golden Globe, I think, is a joke for that. The Green Book winning Best Comedy or Musical and Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Drama explains perfectly what's wrong with the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
How is it a comedy?
Well, and how is that a comedy or musical? I think they went musical on that because he plays music in the movie.
They don't understand what a musical is.
Right. Because it's definitely not a comedy.
No.
But then Bohemian Rhapsody, which is filled with music
Yeah.
and performances.
And pretty darn funny.
And pretty funny. I think more comedy than drama
Right.
for the most part, with the manufactured drama set aside.
Right.
I think
Teenagers are not going to bang their heads in cars to this song.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to be shocked if Bohemian Rhapsody wins.
Yeah.
I just floored.
You're probably 100% right.
No, well,
Something just tells me that's
I did not win Best Picture
that's
last
gonna
year.
win.
I did not correctly predict that last year. So
fair enough.
who knows? All right, Alexis.
Okay.
This is your turn.
For Best Picture, I did not pick Vice because
I love she starts like that, works it way backwards.
I like to add some suspense, you know.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Because commonly comedies do not get chosen.
Oh.
Okay.
They get nominated, but they don't win.
Okay.
So it's great that they got nominated, but I don't think that out of the others...
If this was 60 years ago, it'd be different.
Whoa.
6-0?
60, yeah.
Yeah. A Star is Born, I don't feel like a remake should...
A double remake.
A quadruple.
At least. Quadruple?
Uh-huh. I think there are 4 or
It's
5
the fourth
others.
one. It's the fourth one.
Yeah. Also, I found it to be incredibly...
Harp.
What?
Misogynistic.
Harp.
Misogynistic.
I really wanted to kind of wanted to talk about that, but
Yeah.
like because I'm so conflicted about that, the misogyny in the film. Because on one
But her
hand,
name's Lady Gaga.
I know. On one hand, I think that's sort of like part of the point, right? Like the overcoming the things that are wrong with you and like understanding that sometimes you love somebody and you have to like love those things too and help them work through it. So like I'm really conflicted about it because I recognize the misogyny, but also like conflicted because I like what they're saying about that. So
It's just...
as a woman, talk about
the
it.
fact
I
that,
think-
he meets her, immediately starts like taking off her eyebrows.
Changing
and
her immediately.
Yeah. But also telling... I mean, I'm torn in that one because... Yes, he doesn't want her to like be making herself up, so it's like, oh, just look like yourself, but also telling her that what she's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And then basically tells her, oh, don't go to your job, just fly out to this thing, and oh, by the way, you're going to sing this song, but I haven't really...
But isn't that the point? Isn't the point though? Like, so this is my argument, and I don't know that this is correct. I don't know, but isn't the point that he does all of these things to change her that are these like superficial, like protective things that one, they show she doesn't need, but two, the change what changes he makes in the film are not superficial. Like there's this dichotomy between what they're doing for each other and like, isn't that like kind of meaningful?
But then she ends up going back and changing herself because that's what the producers want her to do. Like her manager, like makes her become someone different.
But
So it's kind of like, what was the point?
But what happens at the end, without giving away, like, I don't feel like the ending is reflective of that. I think that's reflective of, like, leading into the last act, but
Right.
not reflective of how the film ends.
I felt like it was a very predictable film as well.
It's a very predictable film. I'll give you that for sure.
The moment that her producer yells at him, I even turned to Jeff and I was like, this is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely predictable. It's okay. You're fine.
You're good.
You're good. Steve has his ears plugged.
So...
Yeah, yeah.
It just...
I'm
wasn't my
more
favorite
like
story.
I'm more interested like in the thing that's makes me feel conflicted about it, which is sort of the misogyny thing. Like I've seen a lot of people talk about that, like sort of how sexist it is, and like on one hand I get it, like logically I get it, thematically like I have a lot of questions. So
It's weird that they wanted to try and like convey this sort of realistic thing, but I found it to be incredibly unrealistic.
interesting. Being,
You guys were giving each other the middle finger a lot.
I think everybody's probably lives are different. So I think from my experience, what experience I've had with people who are addicts and
Rock stars.
mental illness, that stuff going on, I liked what the film had to say.
In that respect, yes. I feel like they covered addiction in a good way, but like how she rose to fame.
Well, that's not believable at all. Like
That.
But although there may be something to be said about the age of YouTube. Like, I mean, people get like, look at yodeling kid. Like, I mean, he's not to the level that she is in the film, but like, he, somebody videotaped him yodeling in like a Target or something or a Walmart, and like he's on Ellen and stuff and doing tours and shit now.
Wild.
Like,
Flash in the pan.
That's what's that?
A flash in the pan.
Yeah, maybe we won't hear from him for 20 years and he'll come back and he's like a huge star again. I don't know,
Right.
but like, I'm just saying that I understand and to some extent agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I also am open to the idea that like, man, in this day and age, we don't know. like there's so much that's just like the internet changed everything.
Everything.
I hate it sometimes.
Isn't there some
in entertainment?
Isn't there some big movie that's directed by a guy who was pretty much all YouTube before?
Bo Burnham?
No. There's something else though. What the heck is it called? I'll find it.
But I mean that was Bo. I mean, Bo Burnham got famous from YouTube.
Did he?
Yeah, that's what he was posting to YouTube.
I thought he was mostly stand up and then YouTube.
He started his stand up stuff on YouTube.
Oh, weird.
Justin Bieber is YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
So is Selena Gomez.
Right, I think we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Selena, I thought Disney discovered her like at birth.
That's what I thought it was Disney too, but
I'm saying the wrong. Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
Sorry.
Actually, it's Grandy. Did you know that?
Is it?
So I watched an interview with
She's
her.
Italian.
Oh really? Mm-hmm. I was watching an interview with her, and they were like, when she was engaged to Pete Davidson, they were like, "Oh, are you going to change your name?" Da 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 da. And they referred to her as Ariana Grande in the thing. And she's like, I've thought a lot about it, but I think it's really important to keep the Grandy name. And she says Grandy twice in the thing, and I was like, interesting.
Interesting.
That's nothing to do with Best Picture.
Here, sorry, to get back to it.
You were talking about how much you hate Star is Born.
Sorry, guys. Green Book was great. I don't think that it was the best. I loved The Favorite. But out of these, also not the best. Loved Bohemian Rhapsody so much, but it was so historically incorrect that I cannot fathom why it would win Best Picture. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to have a story about a human's life, don't change it.
Sure. Especially one that's fairly recent and super researchable.
Yes.
You know
like
what I mean?
The fact that, you've both seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he goes to his band and comes out saying that he has AIDS, and that's why he'll do the concert.
Right.
He didn't say that he had AIDS until months after.
And they didn't break up.
No, they took a break. They all agreed.
They kept writing music together while they were on the break.
Right.
Yeah.
So they added this weird drama to make the story more interesting.
See, you want to talk about a predictable movie?
Okay.
I mean, it follows the same pattern as Walk the Line, Ray,
Yeah.
any music biopic.
They want to change it.
It's always about misunderstood genius artist alienates his friends, gets really, really humble, crawls back to them and apologizes, and then they go do their big show.
Yeah.
Every single one of them does
Eddie
this.
and the Cruisers.
Okay.
And the guy, his manager, the Irish dude.
Oh yeah.
That pulls him, and then he's the one that outs him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He didn't do it on television.
Littlefinger.
Littlefinger?
Right.
Was that his name?
No, he was one of the good guys the whole way through.
He was a manager, right?
But the
Littlefinger was
dude
manager.
the dude that Littlefinger introduced him to, the one that wound up pretty much getting Freddie on the drugs and all that,
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
and pulling him away from the band. Yeah.
He did
yeah.
it in a tabloid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In a paper. It wasn't
Yeah.
broadcast. People weren't watching it on TV. It was just... I had issue with that. I loved the movie, but it just was not...
Still, how about that Adam Lambert cameo?
I've talked about this on the podcast, but I want to talk about my biggest issue with the film.
Yeah.
Is the party scene. That's actually more than the
birthday party?
When he decides to just throw a party.
When he has the crown
yeah.
on.
When he has the crown on, and he has all the cross dressers,
and he meets Jim.
And he meets Jim. Yep. I don't like how they represent that scene.
Yeah.
Whether that was real or not, I don't know.
It was real.
That was real?
Mm-hmm.
So they represented the scene from the band's perspective as if Freddie's doing something wrong.
Right.
And it's the first time he's like, I'm me! And it's like, I feel like you shouldn't, first of all, there shouldn't have been sides. There shouldn't have been a band's side and his side.
Right.
and the fact that they make you choose in the film as an active viewer, it really, really bothers me. So, and then they add to the like I can get over the like manufactured thing. It bugs me a little bit, but like
it's gonna happen.
The movie's really, really entertaining. I had such a good time watching the movie. How do you not have a good time listening to all the Queen songs and stuff, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that last scene.
I found myself emotionally like on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But
I was uncomfortable with that party scene. It makes me uncomfortable. And there's also the scene where he tells his wife that he's bi, and she tells him no.
Right, which is not true.
Well, and it's really...
That she never said that.
What a horrible message.
Right?
like,
you can't be...
You can't be bi, you have to
other.
choose. You have to be binary.
Yeah, I have a lot of issue with that.
So, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to win.
Yeah. I also think Black Klansman was fantastic. But I'm just going to go there and say that I think and believe that Black Panther will win.
I love that you picked that. I don't think you're right, but I love it. I kind of...
It'd be awesome if
again,
it does,
a little
man.
piece of me kind of wants you to be right.
I mean, the fact that like so many people that I've spoken to love Black Panther, and it's a comic book, and
that might hurt it though, right?
It probably will. Unfortunately, that probably will hurt it. The idea that a superhero movie...
It's not a bad pick. I like your pick.
Right. The idea that a superhero movie is nominated is a huge shakeup.
I was entertained and surprised, and like I think it tells a really interesting story about how growing up without a father can affect your life, and how like one person's experience with it is so different from another's. And how like family is so important, and that you need to stick together.
Have you heard Michael B. Jordan talk about like having to go to therapy after doing this film?
No.
Oh wow!
Like he's just like he said he had like he had to go to such a dark place that he's never been to before, that like he had to seek help afterwards because it was like killing him from the inside,
which is very important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that he spoke out about that, because a lot of men, I'm like generalizing, but a lot of men don't think that they should seek help because just suck it up and muster it. So like the fact that he was able to talk about that,
I think
it's
also
really important for other men to hear.
I mean, I'm kind of saying this as a white dude, but I think it's also important for black people. I think the black community, people of color, tend to Asian people as well. Like they tend to be viewed as weak in their cultures, and I think it's important. Not just important that he as a man spoke out about it, but as a black man.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons why I loved like Moonlight. Right? It's because it's like gay people of color are one, underrepresented, and two, not talked about, especially in like a more like low income demographic.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Wow.
So that was an interesting pick. I like it. I'm totally into it.
So what are yours? You think Black Panther will win?
And should win.
Yes. Excellent.
And I went Roma for both. What did you say for you split
I
yours?
think Bohemian Rhapsody will, and I think Vice should.
Cool. Well, so we're all split up on this, which is great. Oh man,
It is great. Was that our last category?
that's our last category. I think I'm not going to do well this year.
There's only one way to find out.
Wait a week.
Wait a week.
Watch the Oscars. What is it? Next
Sunday.
February 24th?
Yeah. So
February 24th belongs to Oscar.
anybody have anything they want to plug? I don't know. We don't really do that, but your podcast thing or your
Oh, sure. If you're listening to this and you like podcasts, feel free to become my 11th listener and look for my other podcast, What You Been Up To.
Oh, that's not what I meant, but okay.
But even more so,
Rami Malek thing. Plug that.
I'm really not supposed to talk about it.
You're not supposed to plug it even? You're not supposed to tell people to listen to something?
We've been told to just keep it hush hush, even though it's been in the Hollywood Reporter.
Is it not out yet?
It's not out yet.
Oh,
and It's
okay.
driving me crazy.
All right.
But just keep your ears open for a podcast starring Rami Malek, ladies and gentlemen. And also, by the time you hear this, go to your Showtime on demand and watch Shameless Season 9, Episode 11. Look for Steve yelling at a woman.
Jeez.
I have to yell at a woman in it.
Uh-oh.
All right, Alexis, what do you got?
Well, my podcast that my friend and I have worked on, we had to take a small hiatus. It's called I'm Not Weird, You're Weird. It's at INWYW because, gosh, otherwise it would just be so long to type. But we talk about obsessions and destigmatizing them. We will be starting that back up very soon.
Prove it.
You'll go and find it.
Whoa.
So get ready.
I'm not weird, you're weird.
I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to plug. Nothing exciting. This is it. You're listening to it already, so what else is there to say, right? Oh, okay, I'll plug something.
Plug it.
Last year I did 365 days, 365 films.
Wow.
I finished it. I'm working on a project regarding it. I'm not going to talk about that. But this year, I challenged myself to do something a little easier. So on Instagram, on the VTRT Movies Instagram, is 360... A year of great cinematography is what it is, what I'm calling it. So it's every day it's a different film. So it's 365 films throughout the year, a different shot from different movies. So I think yesterday's was Mad Max, Fury Road.
Whoa. Screening at midnight soon.
Okay.
It's going to be a midnight screening very soon.
And then today's... I forgot what today's... Oh, today's is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Never heard of it.
Ooh, I have not seen it. I know. I'm sorry, guys.
Visually, special. Stunning. All this Kubrick stuff really is. Barry Lyndon and Shining. And even Eyes Wide Shut is, visually really interesting. But, so that'll do it for the Oscar podcast this year.
Whoa.
Congratulations.
You've been listening
folks.
to View the Right Thing with Wes and Steve.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to do Twitters? Or
Special guest Alexis. Oh, should we plug Twitters?
We usually do, but I don't know what's going on.
Oh.
You can if you want.
Sure. My personal is Lecus, Leccus. It's a nickname my mom gave me as a kid because my name is Alexis. Lecus.
All
Cool.
right. What about your Instagram?
Instagram is LexiLou711 because my birthday is on 7/11, and my grandpa gave me the nickname Lexi Lou.
You get free Slurpees on your birthday every year.
I do. You
That's
also,
cool.
free Slurpees on my birthday.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We have another buddy who's 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Well, and you're close to me.
Harrison.
Yeah,
You're
that's right.
So Steve's at the end of June, and mine and Steve's brother are both July 6th.
His brother and my brother have the same birthday. Isn't that
Cancel
something?
babies.
Isn't that weird? And I have
not that.
I have
terminology,
a
but-
nephew. I have a nephew named Wes who's got my birthday. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Wait,
Follow
your brother's
me.
kid?
No, but
Oh.
like a super close friend.
That would have been interesting.
An unofficial nephew. A non-blood nephew, as I always call him when I look him in the eyes. And I say, you're my non-blood nephew and we have the same birthday. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram
It's creepy.
as Big Steve Moulton.
All right.
What about our show?
Our show is we're focused on Instagram. I don't do much on Twitter these days.
No, nobody does.
But both are at VTRT Movies.
Nice.
My Twitter, though, at Movie Hippo.
Oh, yeah.
I retweet pretty regularly. I'm
Sweet.
pretty active on Twitter. Retweet, do a few tweets. It's a little political these days, but
Twitter has literally become President Watch, and that's kind of necessary. It's kind of necessary. Like, if you're on Twitter, stay on Twitter and retweet all the things that need to be said and retweeted.
I'm moving away from Facebook
Yeah?
slowly but surely. Pretty much to communicate with you guys if it's late.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to send text messages late, but I feel like an instant message is safer because
Yeah.
probably not going to wake you up.
Mine is set to 0 noise.
Yeah, and then I check in with my mom on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. Dwayne, thanks again.
Thanks, Dwayne.
listeners. You're awesome.
Yay.
Bon Cinema.